Tomorrow show. 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 Oh yeah. Tomorrow show. Yeah, good. Yeah. You got that singing. You gotta sing that live, right? You do that?
The Tomorrow Show.
Oh shit, that's probably good.
Woo! The Tomorrow Show.
That's awesome.
I can't hear anything.
Hello. Hi. Good morning. It feels like morning.
I forgot to unmute. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are. Thanks for tuning in. Here we are on the Hope for Us Network. Another Tomorrow Show. Another day. Another Sunday fun day. How are you, AC?
I'm drinking coffee.
What's on your...
It's not a competition, but my cup is bigger than both of yours.
That is a big cup.
Is that a Prince cup? What's on
No,
there?
it's bigger than my face.
It's a big old cup. Has that got Christmas things on it?
It says it's 5 o'clock
Wow.
somewhere,
Ah, yes. It's not Christmas things. That is some bottles of beer.
but it's
Cool mug.
coffee.
I got a little tiny mug today, but it's very very cute and handcrafted.
Yeah, I won
Little
that
glaze.
at my pottery studio.
Nice.
It's beautifully glazed. I couldn't do that.
Good morning.
We have a little mini in here.
Little Minnie, of course, as always. Our little wiener dog. I was so happy to hear that Kevin from Guardrail also has a wiener, and I immediately followed
Yep.
said wiener. Nar the
Gnarly and
Nar the ween, right?
gnarly ween.
Gnarly the ween, I think. But so that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He or she, Gnarly and Minnie are now friends
Yes, definitely.
on the Instagram.
Yeah. And
hello, Gandalf. Hi, buddy.
we
This
also
is
have
Gandalf.
our
Gandalf.
wizard friend cat. I think Phoenix is over there. So we got this already. We have a party.
Yes, today is gonna be quite the party, out of the ordinary.
It's sleeping weekend, honey.
It is.
It is
Awesome.
sleeping weekend. That means we are just getting hyped for Snooze Fest on the 11th of February. So a couple Saturdays from now. But yeah, we've been doing it all this weekend. Gandalf's trying to eat the half of my donut.
No.
I'm saving for after the show.
Hey.
Bad
Okay,
kitty.
All right.
Or good kitty. I don't know. Cats that like donuts. Pretty sweet. New friends for Gnarly. What's up, Guardrail in the house? Nice. Get your tickets for Snooze Fest, and you got that little exclamation point tickets to help you get there. It'll pop that link up. That's a cool thing. Is that every week our showrunner, the network, aka Scott, he puts together these little shorthand commands for you each week for what's relevant to our broadcast. So we got sleeping guests today, Alia Rheichart from Nature's Grace and Wellness.
Woo-hoo!
We're going to talk about a really cool education program, peer-led, spark the conversation about mental health. We're going to have Keep Flying from Snooze Fest. We're going to have Kevin Matthews, pro wrestler from, of course, Champions of Hope, but many other things. And that was a really fun watch along yesterday.
It was.
It was really cool to kind of hear the dudes from Guardrail and the day after. And who else was on there? I think we also had
a couple Champions of Hope.
Kid Riot. That's right. How dare I forget?
And Nathan,
the guy that took all the wild
cinematographer,
footage on.
photographer.
Yeah, it was just running around the ring the whole time. getting all the juicy moments. So that was really dope.
Hi, Phoenix. Hi,
actually,
Phoenix.
I just remembered we had the Freedom Paradox. They were on as well. They just had to, there you go. Ryan from Freedom Paradox.
Yes, thank you.
And just had to dip a little bit before the end of the final match, which was crazy wrestling match. If you haven't got a chance to watch that, that's going to be on YouTube for the Hope for Us Network's channel as well, so you can watch the whole Champions of Hope evening in its entirety, or there will also be a playlist of individual matches because it was a stacked card. There was a lot of cool matches, and we're gonna have Leisure Hour and we're gonna have Goof, both Snooze Fest bands representing to close out the show, talking about music and how much punk rock pajama party is gonna kick ass. So
yeah. Oh,
what's also really special today, is the Tomorrow Show with Erin D, AC, and Mike V is joined by a guest host. You excited? AC, are you excited?
This is Gandalf.
Is he a Russian blue?
I don't know.
Oh, what the? Well.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted the special thing.
I was all winding up.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So chat sound off, get loud, get chatting and cheering and getting pumped because we got Carl Evans is our guest host. Let's get Carl out here. And man.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
What's up?
Hello.
Hi, Carl. Man,
howdy.
You had like the After Dark Carl Evans last night, and today we got business.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready. It's double decker. Although AC, I don't know too, because AC's pulling double duty as well this weekend.
Yeah, AC got to have a nice long chat with Guardrail on Friday.
Guardrail in the house.
Sign of the times. AC, we really enjoyed your interview, man. Did you have any moments from that interview that really stood out for you?
Well, like I said, like just listening to the group, I was like, man, this is a work tour band. Like this band's amazing. And then, while talking with them, them telling me who they had worked with, Nick from the Swellers, who's like pop punk royalty. Especially in Flint, in Michigan in general. That's like huge. Like if you don't know who the Swellers are, definitely check them out. They were like very, very, very big influence on a lot of bands back in the day. And for them to be able to work with someone like that, that's a pretty big deal. So yeah, Guardrail, great band, very nice people. Stoked to see you.
Yeah, hell yeah! I'm really glad that they had you interviewing them because the Michigan connection was a really beautiful thing to watch be shared. Yeah. And Carl, yesterday doing that watch along, that must have been like so special for you, like because you were busy as hell that night. So like this was probably like kind of like the first time you really got to see it without having a million other things to be focusing on, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a real treat. I think because especially as you talked about on the actual event night of Champions of Hope, running around doing this, that, or the other. And I think I only got chances to see a few glimpses of each match. And so this is the first time I got to really watch it in depth and see the ins and outs and the action that was going on. And I can't believe, just how blessed we were with the amazing talents from WrestlePro. The group, we're going to be meeting Kevin Matthews later today, who helped put this together for us. And the amount of talent was just spectacular. Every match had its own, special pieces of flavor to it. Everyone worked their absolute tails off. And, it was really just like a really top tier level show. If you think of the different tiers in sort of music or any kind of entertainment, when you're talking about in the space that's so-called indie, but, in the internet age, there's no such thing as indie because, you can watch a video of somebody in Chicago across the world, right? So, but the point is that the talent, it can always be touch and go. Some people are just starting. Some people, you never know. But we just got to see a night from start to finish of just some of the premier talent that's out there in the industry, and they really, really, really kicked it into high gear, and it was awesome. So I'm glad.
Let's all do our Champions of Hope pose. Come on, join me, folks. Like this.
And you can, and the cool thing is, Mike, as you talked about, we're going to put the whole start to finish production on YouTube, but we'll also have it in a playlist so you can watch specific matches. And then you mentioned one of the guests last night was Nathan, who produces a lot of independently produces a lot of video content here in the Chicago wrestling area. And with the static cam set up by Rick Kosowski and Nate together, executive producer Scott put together just an incredible production. It just looks amazing.
Yeah, those cuts are so tight, cutting from camera to camera. It really makes you feel like it made me feel like watching Monday Night Raw or something like that. When I was younger, and the wrestling companies were completely different names and things, to date myself. But we'll talk a lot more about wrestling when we get Kevin Matthews out here. Let's get this next guest out here, because I don't know. I just think the world of Alia Rheichart, our next guest.
Special.
Very special. Been in our life for a lot of special moments, and probably doing the most rare and unique type of outreach anywhere, if you ask me. And really just honored to have her here today. Should we bring her out? Scott, let's bring out Alia Rheichart.
Hey, everybody.
Look at my sweatshirt, Alia.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Show the back. Show the back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the back.
There.
Can you see the back good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's got just that punch.
Yes.
Oh yeah, don't forget this. Tomorrow needs you, y'all.
Yeah.
Tomorrow needs you. So.
Woohoo.
Thanks for wearing the swag, Michael.
Hey Alia, if you were a pro wrestler, what song would you walk out to?
I have no
Whoa,
idea.
That is so on the spot.
I have
know
no
she
idea.
loves music and she's got some go-to jams, so maybe she'd if she didn't think about it too much.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have to think on that and come back to.
I'll come back to that one, but
yeah,
Like a Lizzo song.
I would walk out to a Lizzo song. People would probably tease me about it, but I love Lizzo. You know this.
She's pretty awesome. She's pretty awesome. Maybe, yeah. Maybe Bad Bitch.
I think I said last night, Alia, I said Scrubs by TLC, I think.
That'd be cool.
I think that's funny. But...
It's got some sass.
Yeah. Maybe Ice Ice Baby, because I kind of I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. A little vanilla.
Yeah.
Nice. I had a cassette myself. AC,
Yeah.
did you answer that? Did you have opportunity to answer the question? No, you weren't on Hope Lounge last night.
No.
Hey man, AC, if you're a wrestler, pro wrestler, what'd you walk out to? You got a jam you'd walk out to?
I would walk out to the intro music of Next Episode by Dredd.
Oh, like the...
That would be fitting.
And I would
strut out.
And I would put my own words to it.
There you go.
With my name.
Maintain that copyright.
AC.
He'll get a small 0.07%. He's doing fine.
So, Alia.
Yes.
You are the person that is in charge and spearheading this education initiative, Spark the Conversation about mental health. And you do that representing Nature's Grace and Wellness, a cannabis cultivator here in Illinois. It sounds like some pretty wild stuff to put together, probably for anybody watching. Can you tell us what makes it important, why Spark exists, what its objective is, because me and you have talked about this at length over the many years of development, but I want to hear, and I know the people out there want to hear from you.
For sure. So Spark started at the end of 2019, early 2020. Nature's Grace was originally partnered with a nonprofit in the city, and I had some awesome mentors at that location. And we are no longer working with that location anymore, but we've moved on and kind of like spread our wings a little bit more. And we thank everybody from that organization that helped get us started and on the right track, and awesome education and information. So thank you to those people. You know who you are. Pitched this idea to a friend and was like, hey, we should do this. And they're like, okay, cool. That sounds like a good idea. A bunch of us went to visit Nature's Grace's grow, which is in Western Illinois. We were able to meet with the owner.
I could smell it. My senses are just alive.
Yeah. So we were able to meet with the owners and kind of pitch the idea of what we were kind of thinking. And the whole reason was because we wanted to destigmatize cannabis and also destigmatize mental health. And since they kind of go hand in hand, because a lot of people that are using cannabis for whatever reason, even if they don't have a medical card, still might have some sort of challenges that they're trying to use cannabis to help themselves with. So it was just kind of a natural kind of flow together. So we've been able to get out to the dispensaries. So right now, specifically, it's peer-to-peer. And I get to go out to the different dispensaries in Illinois and do a workshop. We also do pop-ups and pass out resources and literature to the general public. And then we have workshops for the bud tenders. We call them budristas, and just give them some tools and resources to help themselves, help their inner circle of people, and also help patrons that they might see that come in that might be having a hard day. Just kind of give them the resources that they might, a resource card that they might use and not otherwise ask for, just kind of as the beginning to start the conversation about mental health challenges, things like that, well-being, self-care, stuff like that.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes, please do.
Because this sounds like a multi-pronged thing.
Yeah.
I actually want to ask this of you, but I also first I want to ask the chat, and anybody on screen. Have any of you ever used cannabis, or maybe had a cocktail, or maybe you overindulged in some sort of decadent food or something because you wanted to feel better? Go ahead, raise your hand or sound off in the chat, because I'm right there. We've talked. Cannabis probably saved my ass in high school. Otherwise, I would have, I don't know. I would have probably had significant adverse effects due to the mental health challenges I was experiencing. I was just kind of out of pure survival using cannabis. So,
yeah.
I just wanted to underline that, because you said it, and I wanted just to sit in that for a second with everybody, because that's what we're after at the network is, making this conversation not so difficult to have, normalized, and 100% connecting our life experience to being able to more practically be handling our mental health without any tools, because we were not given any. It's the jam that you're doing this. So continue. You were saying.
Yeah, and the whole thing kind of started because I was a former teacher for CPS with you, Mike, and we would talk a lot about just our mental health, our well-being, what was going on in our lives, and things like that. And I use cannabis. I have a medical card, and obviously I work for a cultivator on the marketing side. And, I kind of used cannabis in secret for a long time just because I didn't want people to stigmatize me. And plus, since I was a teacher, it was hard. It's not something you just regularly talk about, obviously, at school, or you might not have a job. So, kind of on the side, just to kind of help me with my mental health challenges that I had, and I've had mental health challenges since I was a kid, but I didn't really have the tools and the outlets that I needed in order to make myself well. So I was super happy to, meet you, obviously, and Erin and Carl and AC, and just be able to talk and have regular conversations about how I felt and not be judged. And so we kind of were like, hey, maybe that would be cool. Like if we could bring that to the cannabis space. I left teaching and then worked at a dispensary, and it was super toxic. And while I was there was nobody to turn to talk to. Our manager at the time was not very receptive to having those conversations. And so it was definitely apparent in that industry that there wasn't that support. So that's kind of where the whole beginning of Spark kind of started with that. So that kind of, precludes the going to the grow and all that stuff. So that's kind of where it came from, just because I felt that industry really needed to have that support. People think it's just super fun to work at a dispensary because you're like, you get to work with weed all day. You must be high all the time. It's like, no, it's actually a very stressful environment to work in a dispensary because you're dealing with people that are coming in all the time. A lot of them are in pain. Sometimes they're not nice. And you'd think like, why would people be mean? They're coming to the dispensary, they're getting weed, and it's like, no, people are coming to the dispensary because they need their medicine and they would take it out on you. And so that was very stressful and you didn't have anywhere to turn. So that's kind of why.
It's not that simple, right? It's
not.
People kind of like make it in their head.
Yeah. I mean, because it's, part retail, part pharmacist, part, bartender, listening to people's issues and stuff. And there was no outlet then to have me be able to go talk to somebody about the things that I was then carrying home, So it was just kind of a natural progression to move it into the cannabis space. And I've been super fortunate to be able to do that. We've been able to educate over 400 budristas over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. So it's been really good, really receptive in the cannabis space, because like I said, a lot of people have challenges that don't want to be talked about, and we give them a safe space to talk about it and tools, how to make themselves feel a little bit better and what they can do to help others as well.
I love that.
Thanks,
It's so powerful. If I'm just going to jump in a little bit here, and it's so powerful and essential what you're doing, Alia. And Spark is really a completely innovative and sort of first of its kind of a program because, maybe people say, oh, mental health should be in a workplace or in any kind of industry, across any intersection. You're seeing in chat here, folks at Guardrail mentioning what they've seen at a pizza place, Skramsky and Walgreens. But the fact of the matter is that it's got to be more than just saying like, hey, mental health matters. And the fact that you go hands-on, these conversations for an effective conversation on mental health has to be, in the cliche phrase of like meet people where they are. You're really on the ground at an intersection that's absolutely essential. Self-care side, and you know what? If you do get a barista enhanced in an appreciation for mental health, it probably gives them a chance to then pass that forward to a guest who comes in looking for resources. Not that they become a clinician or anything like that, but just having a little more compassion and sensitivity helps bring the message further out. And I just, one of the reasons the network was so excited to connect with you is because it's aligned with the idea that the mental health conversation isn't just a billboard or a commercial. It has to be something that we're actually trying to build a legitimate, non-buzzword connection between people. So what you've been doing, tout that number one more time. How many baristas you've educated?
It's been over 400, and I visited over 30.
I wish I had the bullhorn. Someone from Guardrail had the air horn on their phone. But this is great. This is what we're talking about when we talk about direct education and hands-on work. Again, a commercial or a billboard isn't going to be what builds the connection. And somebody being able to put a face and a connection and the heart-to-heart that you're having is so wonderful. And I'd like to know, as you went around, when you go into a first touch at a shop, what's it like? Are they cagey? Are they defensive? What's the experience been like for you?
It really depends on the dispensary, because some of them are MSOs, some of them are smaller, and we're the only privately owned still cultivator in the state. So, but yeah, sometimes people are kind of just like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. And then sometimes other people are like, oh my gosh, this is such a fantastic idea. Thank you so much for doing it. And then I do get feedback from some of the GMs and stuff after a workshop, and they'll, sing my praises, but it's not about me. It's about like the information that is available. So I've had a couple GMs write back and say like, hey, after you left, like last week, we had a situation with one of our Budristas, and they felt strong enough to come talk to us about the issue, and we used the resources that you gave us and that you left. Did we do this? Is this how we're supposed to do it? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, great. Thank you for, your feedback. And thank you for helping us help this person, which is like the best feeling because, obviously Spark is not a lucrative program that we have for Nature's Grace, but it's one of the most important ones that we do have. So it's the most valuable in my eyes because it's actually helping people. And there's proof because people are like, come up to me, I'll be like, oh, thank you so much for doing that at our dispensary. That's awesome. So for the most part, it's super positively, receptive. Push back a little bit sometimes just because it's the nature of the industry. So, and since the industry is so new and there's so many new people coming on board, we're hoping to be able to get out to those new 189 dispensaries that are coming online and be able to spark the conversation with those people.
But, it's retail too. It's retail.
It's a retail weird.
Like,
weird
this
retail.
is not a product. This is something
It's
that's not
retail and
quantifiable all the
service.
time.
Yes.
Because there's like these invisible positive impacts that like are cascading out from the people you got to interact with that just work at that one dispensary.
Yeah.
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 There's a lot to.
Go ahead,
sorry,
girl.
go on.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and a lot of it also has to do with the fact that like your Spark is a proactive piece of work. The network talks about proactive prevention strategies, but when you come into a shop, you're not coming in because there is a problem that you know of. And a lot of times when people talk about mental health, their only engagement is ever when there is a problem.
Right.
So you can, let's give a benefit of the doubt to some of the spaces in that maybe it's not so much that they're cagey as much as like, wait, what are you talking about? Why are you coming in? There's no problems here. We're all happy, even if we know that might be a little bit of, baloney. But I think that's important to understand is that like the power of your education program is about, we're not waiting for there to become an issue and we're firefighters. We're trying to, the scenario you just talked about where somebody called you and said, we started a conversation, that's the success in being proactive is that you've intervened and you've disrupted this sort of like unbroken pattern of escalation into crisis.
Yep.
So it's so tremendous. It's great stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely, when that happens, that's definitely a super highlight for me, just because I know that the hard work that I've put into it and other people that have been involved in this with me, since the inception of it, whether or not it changed hands or not, it's been successful. And, even through the pandemic, it was successful because we would do them, masked in the dispensaries with their people before the store opened because they were considered essential employees. So that was really hard for them too. So it was really important for Spark to be able to come into the dispensaries during that time and just give people an outlet to talk about the things that they were experiencing during COVID. Since it was a collective trauma for everybody in one way or another. And I think they really appreciated that because it gave them that outlet and they weren't being judged by their managers or their GMs and things like that. And they could just have a conversation. And I was, just the third party to kind of moderate it. So it's been good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I am very proud of what you're doing. And I think that when I was talking to people in different industries, it was really apparent when you're having a general conversation about mental health that there's very specific things that happen in different environments that like can impact a person's mental health or can be a situation where you don't know how to deal with it. AC and me both worked in kitchens at different points in our lives. I don't know, I can't speak for AC, but I know for myself, there was times when working at a restaurant, even if I wasn't in a customer facing situation and I was just with my coworkers in the kitchen, like there was certainly certain situations when I was younger working in the kitchen where I didn't know how to help. I didn't know really what to say. I didn't really know, like, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know like if it was any of my business kind of situation. AC, did you ever have that when you worked in the kitchen, working in a restaurant?
Sure. Always.
Yeah. You even did like big catering stuff too, where you had like a big old crew, right? So more people dealing with stress, more possibility for like those situations where, did you ever have like experiences when you were working food service where it was just like, oh, I got a bad feeling about my coworker and I don't really know what to do? Like, did you feel that ever?
Are you talking to me?
Not really. Like, yes and no.
Yeah.
But when it was the yes, you're like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I noticed that's a good point. What do you do? And someone in chat just mentioned if they're listening to this right now about Spark and maybe they're connected to a dispensary or whatnot, how do you bring Spark to a place? How does that go?
Yeah, I mean, you just contact me at Alia at ngwcannabis.com. And then I can, sift through the details and get more information about the space and the location. And I just put it into my management team. And it's usually approved right away because it's obviously so important and impactful. So yeah, just reach out to me directly, Alia at ngwcannabis.com. And I'll get back to you.
And since you worked in the dispensaries,
yes,
you have like a unique perspective when you're working with people like that are in a position that you once held.
Yeah.
Because you're able to like relate on this like more specific.
Yeah. And I think that's what's definitely helpful because I'm not just a third party coming in saying, blah, this is what you should do for, in this situation. It's like, no, I know exactly what you're talking about when, X, Y, and Z came in and screamed at you the other day because you didn't have their product and you didn't have anybody to talk to about how it made you feel and it made you upset or whatever. Like, I know what that feels like. And so maybe, from a first person point of view, like I can give examples of what I would do and then talk it through with somebody else, like what they would do. And people open up and start to have that conversation. And obviously that's the whole goal. I mean, the goal eventually is when there are more cannabis lounges and stuff that open to be able to spark something up. And you don't have to, if you don't want to, obviously I'm not pushing cannabis, but to spark something up and then have that open conversation and have it flow in a more natural setting, and just to give people that, information and have the proactive resources available so that they can know at least where to start. Because there's so much stuff out there, but you might be so overwhelmed or not even know where to turn that at least if I give you a little resource card or a little something, it can kind of start you on your journey to be able to find help. So that's the ultimate goal. I mean, obviously I'm not a clinician, so.
It's the same pretense though as like if back in the day, me and AC being people that were working in kitchens went and talked to some people working in kitchens rather than somebody that didn't have any idea of what it was like to work on the line and like have a whole roll of tickets where you're just like freaking out and your like shift lead is like up your ass about it or something.
Yeah.
Like that,
And like I'm able to use, metaphors and things like that have to do with the cannabis space with them. So it makes them, kind of understand it in their terms.
Do you have an example?
Yeah. So like clearing your bong the right way, So if you have a bong and you inhale and you don't pull the slide or you don't let the carb go, it's going to fill up with the nasty yellow smoke. And if you smoke that, you're probably going to feel sick. You're going to choke. You're going to sputter. You're going to cough. It's not such a pleasant hit, right? So if you pull the slide or use the carb, you're going to have a much smoother hit. So the example is if you just let all that nasty smoke filter into your bong and then hit it, you're going to feel sick. It's the same thing with your brain. If you let all those filthy things or hard things or dirty things or whatever the things are, the negative stuff float around in your brain, it's going to make you sick. So you have to be able to pull that slide, let that carb go, and kind of valve that the right way so that you feel better. So you have to have a clean bong, have a clean brain.
I like that. You expanded an analogy we used to use a long time ago and kind of made it weed centric.
It made it relevant to the weed industry because they needed a visual, and people were like, "Oh,
keep it clean, keep it clean."
Yeah,
like, let it out.
Yeah, and so just having that kind of, and I have a little video that we usually show, and it's of a friend of mine, hitting a bong not the right way. And he's like gross, is like spitting, coughing, like choking. And then another one of him doing it the right way. And so people are like, oh, because as soon as they see that visual, they're like, oh, no, don't do it that way, man. Like they all start to get like hyped up because they're like, pull a slide, use the carb, because you could just see it filling with the smoke and it's turning yellow. And so then they're like, oh, I can't believe he did that. So
I believe they call that stale. Like it's
it's stale.
right?
It's stale smoke, and it's not tasty. So
well, no, but like I think of that like the whole stagnant, like getting stuck when you have like this sadness or this anger that's just like really bringing you down in your day to day, and you're not really like able to get it out of you.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of you drag it along like this heavy ass
just floating in there. You want to get it out. Yeah. So it works. It works for them, cool. and you could just kind of see the light in their eyes, be like, oh, I get it. I get why I don't feel well, because all my negative thoughts are kind of floating around in my brain like this stale smoke. So it's kind of a good analogy.
And that's cool that, one of the fun things about doing this kind of education is that chances are people don't need a specialist or a big assembly speech to come in and tell them something's wrong. Most of the time, people, you didn't need to know technical words or vernacular to know something's wrong, whether it's a sort of like creeping itch that's just been with you for a long time, or this dominating sort of pressure that's been in front of you. But what education like yours does, it would seem, as you're sort of talking about it, is it validates what people are going through. Because I feel like one of the biggest things that we see continually in mental health space is the fact that, again, people can be perfectly aware something's not copacetic, but they spend so much time in the concealment space that they minimize and say it's not that big a deal, or they should feel ashamed about it, or a drop-down menu of raise that just silences people. So one of the coolest things about the power of what you're doing is that it does give people the permission to say like they matter, that they have a right to connect or communicate on it. Because I think one of the things that we take for granted is the fact that knowing there's an issue isn't necessarily the big hill that we have to climb. It's that speaking out part, and Spark really illuminates that conversation.
Yeah, it does, and I'm proud that it's still going strong, and that like I said before, that I had awesome mentors to help me kind of get this going, and I'm super excited to be able to work with the Hope For Us Network and continue this program. So
yeah, well, we're glad to have you. I love my hoodie, and I love the potential the program holds. I mean, it's already done so much good, and will continue to do even more good. So kudos to you, Alia.
And I do want to, in throwing you flowers, Alia, I also want to highlight the fact that Spark the Conversation is a program that comes from Nature's Grace and Wellness, just to double down on that part. And the Hope For Us Network in 2023 gets the honor of saying that Nature's Grace and Wellness is one of our first signed-on sponsors for the year as an event and outreach. We're going to be doing a number of special programs with one of our other partners, Ears Brewery and Cider House. And this is part of building a community of spaces that meet a vast, complex, myriad sort of intersections of conversations and lifestyles and backgrounds. And it's just a really big deal to connect with NGW, because Spark is part of we don't do it alone. Together we do this programming. And if you watch anything on our Twitch, you see we have multiple different shows. It's not just one person running an ongoing live stream, because it's part of a bigger community. And so you being a guest and being part of the resident family and part of the network, as it were, in your own autonomous way is just a really great manifestation. So I'm really digging it. We're super stoked to have you here. So
thank you. I'm really happy that's happening, for sure, because we want to continue to break the stigma about mental health, and also with cannabis, because it's more widely used than people realize. And if you ever just spent time in a dispensary and just people watch to see who's coming in, it's not what stereotypically people think. And I think goes the same thing with mental health and mental health challenges. It's not the stereotypical what you think. So I think it kind of fits twofold. So I'm glad that we're able to do some sort of partnership this year. That's very exciting for me, and I'm glad to be with my friends.
Yeah.
And someone in the chat just asked, can people get that hoodie?
Probably. I'd have to see.
Later.
I don't know if we have them on any of our websites for sale, but I know if you go to some of our events, they're usually given away as prizes.
They're fun
But
events too.
I can
Really fun
always
events.
get back to you on that information if we do have them for public sale. They're kind of a limited edition at this point.
And on the point you said about destigmatizing what people think about cannabis and stuff, you hear that, Coach Roberts from high school? You jerk! You called me a burnout and a pothead. I will.
Wait, Mike, is that the coach? Is that the?
That was for you, AC. That was for you. AC
Yeah,
likes
that goes for all those
story.
people that are saying like, "Oh, you're never gonna do anything in your life. You're just gonna smoke weed all the time." Well, a lot of those people are, doing pretty well at this point in time. So,
AC's retold this story about me throwing my football helmet at my coach when he called me a pothead burnout. When I had long hair, of course, in high school. He likes to retell that story. So that
Coach
was for
Roberts
you,
doesn't
AC.
know. Doesn't know.
It's only funny because it's just hard to picture Mike doing that. That's
true.
why
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Well, he was a real dick, that Rich
know.
Roberts. His name was Rich. His
I
name
know.
was Rich. So I'm not being derogatory. He was. Some people call him Dick.
He's a dick.
Yeah. I meant it.
Well, awesome. Yeah. Well, so glad to have you here. If you wanted to hang out, or if you had to go, yeah, you're welcome to hang out as we talk some music with our next guests for Snooze Fest. We got Keep Flying hanging out backstage. We're going to bring them out in a second. If you do have to be going, feel free to stick around as long as you can. Okay.
Sure.
Because this
Thank
is
you
the
so
free
much.
house. We're hanging out.
Yes,
Cool.
absolutely. Thanks everybody for having me on today, and it was nice to see all of your lovely faces.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
So we got Alia spark the conversation about mental health, nature's grace, and wellness. Thank you so much. We are going to head on to our next segment. We're going to talk about Snooze Fest and one of the big headlining acts Guardrail has planned for y'all at this pajama party punk rock for a cause concert. Proceeds benefiting Hope for Us Network, Saturday, February 11th. It starts early in the day because they got 8 bands to get in there. So, and just like that, we're going to keep things moving, just like they'll keep those sets moving at Beat Kitchen on the 11th. Keep Flying. What's up? Bring them out. Oh, hey, what's up?
Just got to unmute there, but what's happening?
How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm right after this, I'm going to turn the game on.
Cool.
My bass player's the Eagles guy. I don't know. Even though we tour full time, he still loves to claim that he's never left South Philadelphia, which is not possible as we tour full time. But it's still a great gimmick that we run on stage. And so for him, I hope they win.
Yeah. John, you got Natalie saying hello in the chat, just in case you don't have your chat pulled up.
I see the chat now.
All right, cool. Yeah. Hi, Natalie. We got Goof in the house as well. It's another Snooze Fest band. All right, so why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, John? You are in the band. Tell us a little bit about your band.
Yeah, Keep Flying. I play saxophone in the band. We have a trombone player as well. We are I don't really know how to describe it. It's funny. Depending on who you ask, they're going to say something different, but we're a punk band. We're a horn-driven punk band. We don't have any upstrokes in our music, but we play the ska shows sometimes. We've been very fortunate to go on tour with some of the legacy ska bands, which are some of our favorite bands. And we've also have done that with a lot of the punk bands and a lot of the pop punk bands. So that's kind of where we fall in between, somewhere in there. Though I will say our most success we ever have is when we get randomly added to the metalcore or hardcore bills, because that is just so different from what we are that usually it keeps everyone's attention. Nice. They may not participate in the movement, but they're all watching. Last time we did one of those with we opened for a band called Alpha Wolf and Body Snatcher in Cincinnati, and I watched third song, every person's phone just came up. Like, what the hell is this? But they all stayed. So yeah, we've been a band since 2016. We're a punk band through and through. We're from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. A lot of us have relocated during the pandemic, so now we're more so all over the East Coast, and our trombone player moved to Denver. But we're still that kind of Northeast mentality and people in the way that we do everything that involves the band. And when Guardrail asked us to do this festival with them, it was a no-brainer. Chicago is one of our favorite places to go. We didn't have anything booked for the calendar for this year yet at the time, and that was it. And we've never played Beat Kitchen, so I'm excited to finally cross that one off the list.
Nice.
Played a lot of Chicago venues, but we haven't played that one yet. And I think we are playing a bit later, maybe too late for some people, but that's how it goes. And yeah, man, I think a big thing with our band, as I've become more self-aware, is that we are a very lyrically, I think people like our band because we have some really serious lyrics and some really serious topics that we cover in the words that Henry writes, that we perform in a very lighthearted and fun way. And you add to that the fact that we put on a very intense, energetic live show. I think that is, I used to think it was just a live show, but then over the last couple of years, it's like some of the songs we have is really, really deeper lyrics that people will tell us like, yo, I never read the lyrics of this one. And then I read them and then I realized how serious you guys are here. But like the way you perform them is like, makes it easy to talk about.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I was in here in the backstage, as you know, for a while, you know, listening to you guys talk about a lot of mental health stuff. And yeah, we've got a lot of that in our band. And our singer who writes most of the lyrics, he's got, I'd say, some of the hardest things he's got to deal with. And so I think, yeah, I just think normal people relate. It's easy to relate to what we're singing about. Yeah. I mean, unless you are blessed with a really awesome life that's just, you know, like which there are some people.
Yeah, or your brain is just has itself.
Yeah, some people have that, which is really lucky.
Yeah.
Then I guess maybe you wouldn't really, you know, relate as much. But
lucky.
Yeah, our whole thing is, I know a lot of bands say this, but our whole thing is we find it really important to make sure that people can escape whatever is going on during the length of our show. And maybe not necessarily forget about it, but put it to the side for a little bit in hopes that maybe they can reapproach whatever's going on with a better mentality. I know a lot of bands say that, I know, because I hear it often, but we really, really, really mean that. We're just trying to have fun, man. We don't really make money. So we're older now. Like we're all in our 30s into 40s. So if we're still doing this as often as we're doing it, as hard as we're doing it, it's truly because one, we need it. It's therapy for us. And two, we've gotten to a point where I feel like we'd be letting too many people down if we were to not. Because I feel like there are some people that are like, well, I'm pretty good now, but let me check the calendar. Okay, cool. You're coming back in April or close enough. That's awesome. I'm going to look forward to that date because that's going to be a day where I'm going to be able to get to and have a good time and not worry about all this bullshit that's going on.
Yeah, man. That's I think the common thread between all these special bands that are coming together for Snooze Fest. And I think you really said it all right there. I appreciate that. Would you be down to watch one of your guys' awesome music videos? Because you got You've got like a treasure trove of really fun music videos on your website.
We have almost every song we have has a video. I think only like 3 don't.
Oh, so cool. Damn.
Yeah.
I think only 3. One of them was taken down recently because we copyright infringement. We shouldn't have used some of this, but we knew that was going to happen. But it got up there for a week. It was up there for a week. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, man. Do you, Scott, if you want to pull up the videos page of their website, we can either have John pick or we can like do a kind of like a vote or something like that.
I would say something from Survival. This is our newest like full record.
Hell yeah.
That's a good one. That's fine.
Do the top one, keep flying. Let's do that.
That's a good one. That's a comedy one.
It's really fun. It's a really great music video, and let's all watch it together. We'll let Scott get it all queued up. I think you're all going to really enjoy just it's a really good example of what John just talked about, how they take their song and they have fun and bring you into it. Let's skate together.
By the way, has anybody heard from Hen yet? The chef, the king?
I haven't heard from him. All right, lads. If we're gonna get through all this tonight, we've got to get rolling soon. We can't wait any longer. All right. So last time,
travelers had just vanquished off the gelatinous cube and had made their way to the final chamber of the dungeon. Unfortunately, our fighter is still stuck in the cube's remains, leaving just the 4 of you to carry on. And as you crest into the final chamber, I'm going to need you to roll for initiative.
I need to live. I gotta see what happens. I have to see what will become of us. But the world love makes everything more dangerous. The leaves on the wind, so let the ride begin. We've come too far to turn back now. Might not make it out. Still can't trust my mind, running low on time. And I got everything to prove. I'm safe on the move. The earth won't stay beneath me. It's only New York air I'm breathing now. And lately, my body wants to take it easy. But Jersey traffic taught me never to slow down. Well, leaves on the wind, so let the ride begin. I know my sins, we all know how this ends. So let the ride begin. We've come too far to turn back now. Might not make it out. Still can't trust my mind, running short on time.
That's pretty sick. That is sick.
They never lie down. We never lie down.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got everything to grow.
And that's great.
Roll for initiative. Initiate these nuts.
Bravo. Bravo.
I forgot about the end of that video.
I did not. I thought it was hilarious.
The post scene, that was like, why? Why? All right, yeah. Who cares? The funny thing is, so one of those guys has departed the band since then, and the guy who's the dungeon master, he's in the band now. He's now full-time trombone player for the band. And the guy who's dressed up in the king outfit, he is our singer, so that's why he's got that role. But yeah, a few of us are big D&D guys, and the rest of the guys are not. And we were like, let's do this. Let's do a D&D video. This will be good. This will be fun. And that space that we recorded the video in is where we rehearse at our drummers. That's our drummer's basement in North Jersey, where we still have like all the gear is stored there. And that's where we rehearse before every tour and before we go to the studio, etc. So that's a fun one.
Super fun. And like, I feel like it conveys exactly what you're talking about, where like, let's escape. Let's use our friendship and our relationships to kind of like lean on each other and like have a break from all the shit out there. And I think D&D, like the friends of ours that like do D&D and like do campaigns and stuff like that, that's very much what it is for them. And they might not go to punk rock shows, but they've found their thing, and that's what's important. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and it can intersect also. You could be a D&D person that loves going to punk rock shows, right? But like,
we've convinced some. That whole rollout of that video and that song, like, because we used all like different things for like a month, like posts and such. We did a lot of like tags, like Dungeons and Dragons tags, and all of a sudden we had like, I don't know, 100 people who are like, "What is this? I'm a Dungeons and Dragons person, but I can get into this."
Yeah.
We've had like 2 occasions where someone came to the show, Rogue, like came to a show and was like, "I saw your thing. I got, it popped up on my feed. I figured I'd come check it out. Like, which guys in the band play D&D? I gotta know." We made our own custom 20-sided dice.
Nice.
Like, we really just like we're like, let's just go for it.
Lean in.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's lean in. Yeah.
Well, something with, like Stranger Things being popular too. I think that brought back a lot of D&D. So
big time. And we rolled out a whole Eddie Munson. We had like 3 months of Eddie Munson. We had a tour ad mat. We did 2 T-shirts. I like to stay on top of what's going on with the pop culture stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Because we're a small unsigned band. So like, we have to do everything ourselves. And I don't know. For me, it's like, why not? I'll try anything. I will try anything. If it means someone's going to maybe take a chance and listen or come to a show, I'll try anything.
Got those good hicks. It's a good piece of like market synergy. I mean, you've got the D&D movie coming out in March or whatever, but I mean, it's just so funny that this was really well put together. And it is funny, you talk about the Stranger Things connection, but sometimes that's all it takes. It's like just one person seeing that part of it, and they find an intersection that like connects you to your music, and that's great. I mean, that's what you gotta do.
So this spring, we're putting it all together right now, but like March, April into the beginning of May, we've done it before and it's been very successful. We're all in on Star Wars again because Mandalorian's dropping. So the next tour ad, Matt, is all Mandalorian again. We're just all Star Wars. I just put an order in with a buddy of mine who's got a enamel pin company called Knights of Pin. It's all Star Wars themed things. And he took our logo, which is a paper airplane, and he turned it into like one of the cruisers. Like, it looks like the paper airplane, but as a cruiser. And
Perry,
awesome.
Perry the plane?
Huh?
Is your mascot's Perry the plane, correct?
Perry the plane, but yeah. So what he comes from is like the actual paper airplane with the little symbols on it. He made that into like a Star Wars ship, and I was like, dude, he just sent me an image. I said, bro, can we make the pins, bro? It's time. We're rolling out Star Wars stuff for like 3 months coming up. I need you to put this order in. Like, this is cool. And we'll come up with a bunch of other things, because that is one thing, at least across my whole band, I believe that's something that everybody likes. Everybody's into Star Wars, at least a little.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Little bit. I love it, man.
Well, we're working on. I don't want to jinx us, but I'll give you a little inside dope for us and the birds listening. You know, we're working on in the summer. We take a hiatus on a lot of our content on live stream, so we're working on a D&D live stream campaign just to sort of see how that works. See if people want to join in, and we'll have to circle back about an opening theme song.
Yeah,
I'm all in on that.
Hell yeah.
Love the horn hits, man. And John, it's been really, really fun talking to you.
Yeah.
We got a stacked show just like Snooze Fest. So we're going to be moving on to our next interview. If you want to hang out, you're more than welcome to. And if you got to be elsewhere, we totally understand, man. But we want to just thank you for
this show. I'm excited about the show.
Yeah, man. Snooze Fest is going to be awesome. We get to meet you in person. So that's
I'm excited.
And you guys are going to be coming in horns blazing.
Yeah, let's just hope that the snow is minimum or none. I'll take none.
Yeah, you guys have had plenty up in the Northeast for sure.
Oh, poor Ricky in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Sad. Still never stopped. I don't think it's gonna, but thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
And,
keep flying is fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to be live.
Appreciate it.
Saturday, February 11th, Beat Kitchen here in Chicago. Get your tickets right now. It's for a good cause. Wear your pajamas. Oh, yeah. Thanks, John. Say what's up to your referee for us, okay?
Thank you.
Carl, guess what?
Yo.
Guess who's backstage?
Oh, shit.
The handsome, the man with the largest shoulders I've ever met. Man, what a smile. What a kind soul. He was super nice to us, and just really cool that he's going to be on our show. Do you want to introduce him?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, set your recording to get ready for the Tomorrow Show's next host. He's the one and only, the co-founder of WrestlePro, doing big things in New Jersey, but taking over the world from Alaska to Chicago, and the sky's the limit. I bring to you the one, the only, Kevin Matthews.
Yay!
Matthews.
Bringing
the busiest man in America.
What's up, guys? I think we have a new ring announcer on our hands.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let me pull over. Let me pull over real quick. How about doing this thing while driving?
The man never sleeps.
I don't really recommend this one, but cop pulling me over. Like, what were you doing on your phone? Well, I was doing this live interview. I was for good cause, and maybe he gets me off.
Maybe.
No, you never know. You have to be a real heartless guy to not let someone off for a good cause like that. One time I got pulled over, and I was one of my wrestlers back in the day, Chris Payne. He's a legitimate cop, and I was messaging him, and the cop caught me on the phone doing the walkie-talkie thing, and he was going to give me a ticket. And then I literally pulled up, and it showed him, and his icon was him in uniform, and the cop thought it was cool that he was a wrestler, and then we chatted about wrestling. He's like, all right, have a good day. Truck too. I said, literally, the ring is in the back of this truck right now. You'd be surprised. Yo, I used the wrestling shtick so many times when it came to getting pulled over. Got out of tickets almost every single time. Yo, cops are wrestling fans, man. That's why I love the cops.
I love that, Kevin. It's so have you here, man. For our audience right now, we've talked about that you were the other side of the main plan to make Champions of Hope a real thing. And before we dig into sort of what you're up to these days, why don't you give people a quick bio, just where you came from, how did you get into the wrestling? Just give us the elevator on who is Kevin Matthews.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a lot to pull over. This looks good, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. Let me pull in here. All right. So what was the question? Who am I and all that stuff?
Let's let a little people know about, when did you get started in the industry? What have you been up to? Just a little bit of the basics.
So the original place where I came from, a long time ago, my mom and dad met, right?
All right, all the way to the start. All right.
You want to know the full start or just wrestling start?
Let's start. Well, no. I mean, where'd you grow up?
All right, Brooklyn, New York, a little town called Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, New York. I don't know if you go down the track record of people born and raised there. I mean, I'm listed if you go to the Wikipedia page of Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, under notable people. There's other wrestlers, but that like touched Bay Ridge, but aren't from it. I was like, I might be, and I'm not a big name, but that just goes to show you that not many notable wrestlers have come out born and raised from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. I might be that guy, but
yeah.
So if for those people to put it into context, because if you're not from Brooklyn, you don't know what the hell Bay Ridge is. It's a town. Brooklyn's divided up into sections. If you're not from Brooklyn, you only know Brooklyn as Brooklyn. But you heard of Staten Island. There's a bridge that connects Staten Island to Brooklyn. The other side of the bridge is the first town is Bay Ridge. So that's
that's great.
So yeah. Anyways, from there, I was a nightmare in school. Got suspended 13 times, thrown out of 3 schools. Probably voted definitely the most likely to fail in everything in life. So yeah, there's that. In 4th grade, I made a little school project with the shoebox where you had to make diaphragm.
Dioramas, hell yeah.
Yeah, where you had to make, I think it was the topic was you have to make what you want to be when you grow up out of that stupid shoebox. And I remember making a ring and I put the Hasbro Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man in there. And
hell yeah.
I'm going to be a wrestler. And he's like, yeah, sure you are, kid. And then, I mean, that was 4th grade. No one projected. Doctors didn't say I was growing to be 6'5". You know what I mean? That just happened. That would just happen to be. That wasn't one of these. Hey, you're a big guy. You should be a wrestler. Hey, I was a little kid. I want to be a wrestler. I just happened to grow into a 6'5" body frame. So, started training at 16 years old in Brooklyn, New York, and then bounced around to a couple of different schools. Started at Johnny Rod's. I will not talk kindly about that place. Left there by the time I was 17. Went to Dory Funk's for a week. Then notorious place called LIWF Doghouse. Trained there sporadically. That's where it was that place. You should get Homicide or one of these guys on this because you have to know about that place in Queens. Is run down in a dangerous section under the shadiest train tracks, and the place was just a cloud of marijuana and you had low-key come out of there, Homicide, and freaking the who's who of the wrestling business went through that building. It's pretty hilarious. So got signed early on, had a bunch of tryouts at 21 to TNA when I was 21, WWE when I was 21. I think I signed at 22, sent to Georgia. Developmental, Deep South Wrestling, again, awful experience. Ironically, Bill DeMott, the trainer there, came from Johnny Rod's school, the place that it kind of went around full circle. So, yeah, but I mean, that place, I was only probably 30 people have ever been through those doors before it opened and shut down. And it's Hawkins, Ryder, which is Cardona and Myers. And then Kenny Omega was there for the 3 months I was there. He came, stayed with me the whole time and wrote his resignation to the company through my computer on me. He said he's going to claim that he has family problems at home and he needs to leave, and he wanted out. He hated that place. That's what him and I became close in Deep South. Miz came through there, MVP, Gallows. This is just
amazing.
I mean, a lot of talent came through there and survived. And whenever I cross paths, Angelina Love with them on the independents and stuff like that, or at TV, wherever, AEW, whatever, we make jokes and we're like, damn, it seems 16 years ago, but we're like, damn, we survived Deep South Wrestling. We're 30 people that ever seen the inside of those freaking demon doors. It's
and for our non-wrestling friends, just to give you a quick catch up, what he's talking about is a wrestling training school that had a very less than reputable reputation and experience for the and the promotion. You're talking about Deep South, the actual promotion too. That it's kind of a hard place.
Well, WWE owned Deep South Wrestling, same thing as Ohio Valley Wrestling, same thing as NXT. It was basically, for those fans that watch wrestling now, think of NXT on an insanely smaller level, where their developmental talent came through there, but this wasn't. We weren't on TV. We were on public access in Georgia. It was in an old rundown former supermarket with, ironically, the building was black. The walls were black. Everything in there was dark and dingy, and it felt like hell. And then you had the devil running class. It was horrible. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't pleasurable at all. It was awful. No one speaks highly of it. And the amount of injuries that came out of that place is not good. But anyways, it broke a lot of people that didn't last out of there. I came out depressed and miserable, but I used that as motivation and stuff. I was like, okay, I seen the worst side of this business. Let me spin this around. And then, I mean, I'm a lifer, so there was no chance I was gonna be like, well, I tried pro wrestling, it didn't work out. You know, I wasn't into football or anything else. I was like, all I knew was wrestling. I was like, okay, so now we're back on the indies and let's see what else we can do. And then come 2000, I started working for this one place in 2007-ish. And then by 2012, it was a small, tiny company. I partnered up my partner, Pat Buck, my best friend, with that promoter. And I'm refraining from saying his name because I do not like him. And he was a bad, bad person, that former guy. We booted him. Don't steal. You don't steal from your friends. No good. That. Bad. So then they partnered up, and then it went from drawing 100 people to the first show we drew like 1,500, and then we brought in these mega names. And so then come 2015 is when we realized that he was a no partner, and the money was missing a zero or two here and there. So it's like, ooh, so booted him, rebranded the company WrestlePro in end of 2015, kicked off March 2016. So I've been going 6 years as WrestlePro. I'm partnered up with Pat Buck. I do the book and stuff like that. I run half the shows. And then I came up with the weird idea in 2019 after visiting in 2018 Alaska. I was like, I want to run a wrestling show in Alaska. And then everyone's like, yeah, sure you do, kid. Good luck with that one. I posted it on my Facebook. I'm like, I was like, my bucket list, I'm going to run a wrestling show in Alaska. Everyone commented, if you do that, we're going to come. Yeah. Nobody expected me to do this. Like, asinine idea where it's just like, yeah, we'll support his fantasy idea. And then a year later, I mean, I announced that August 2018. And then I announced the first show April 2019. I found the venue. I located the only ring. I did the paperwork. I got the commercials, I had no boots on the ground at all over there. That was supposed to be a one and done show. People dropped out of the woodworks after that. And then by happenstance, one of the guys who attended that show was literally this guy named JT West, who ran a school a long time ago in Alaska. It didn't work out because there was no people to join. It was just didn't work. There was no shows for them to wrestle on. There was just no scene. But then after that first show we brought in Mick Foley, John Morrison. Ironically, he was nothing then, but now he's the top guy. MJF was our main event. It was him versus Janelle versus Pat Buck. So amazing. Look up our history books. We had MJF as our main event in our first Alaska show. But the show was Scarlett was on it. The show was loaded up. And then literally before the show ended, we drew, 1,300 fans? It was an arena, though. We had an 8,000 seat arena. We drew a respectable 1,300 for an indie show, but 8,000 seat arena. I'm looking at numbers, seeing if you sell it out, it will make this like 380,000. I was like, I'm gonna be rich after this show. The show made money. I wasn't rich after it, but the show definitely did good. And I was like, wow. This can't be a one-off thing. There's a fan base here. This was fun. It gave you those butterflies of like, this was fun. So I turned around and did it again with Bret Hart, Road Warrior Animal, Tyson Kidd, December 2019. And then obviously the pandemic hit, canceled my show. And then I did September 2020. I bought the LLC for WrestlePro Alaska under my own name. It's my sole company. But back to JT West, he happened to run a school there. And then after that show, it inspired him. He started chatting with me. He reopened his school, 907 Pro Wrestling Academy. And then present day, it's been 3 years now. Now there's like literally 30-something students that he's fully trained there. He runs monthly student shows for the last 2 years, monthly shows. This is a place that had zero pro wrestling, mind you. Amazing. So now I come in every few months with a couple of my bigger shows with bigger names and stuff. He runs monthly shows. So this place that went from zero pro wrestling to now, I don't know, they 12 and my run maybe 6. They were 20 shows a year, sometimes maybe more, and it's catching on. More places want more shows and stuff, and there's a whole crop of local talent. So I was like, holy crap. I was like, I literally lit a match and built a whole freaking wrestling territory in a ghost town that everyone's like, when you thought of it before me, if I would have told you Alaskan pro wrestling, you would have just instantly thought like, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's no way you could do wrestling there. But I looked at numbers, 300,000 people. I looked up WWE's numbers every time 5 years they came there. They drew 5,000 people. I was like, there's fans here in Anchorage. Okay, let's play with this game. And then even little towns I ran outside Anchorage, Palmer and Soldotna. Soldotna is 3.5 hours away. We drew 400 fans there. Like, think of it. It's the best and worst. It's like, oh, you can't run there. There's nothing there. Isn't that a reason to run there?
Oh, you're a modern day Eddie Graham.
I should say I should run New Jersey because there's too much shows in New Jersey.
Which is something that should be said, though, that you were running one of the bigger promotions in the East Coast, which is chock full. And WrestlePro really stands out. A lot of you have a great legacy. A lot of your guys that are coming through the WrestlePro doors, the training school with Pat Buck, are on TV and other places like that. And you've built this real, like, sterling reputation for top tier, like, product out there. That's something to really be marveling at.
Well, the brand WrestlePro and stuff like that. I mean, the talent falls under Pat Bucks and Pat Bucks more than one Pat Buck. Pat Bucks, Brian Myers, Kurt Hawkins. I mean, so yeah, there's a whole umbrella basically formed. When people ask me, they're like, "Wait, so Creative Pro's the school for New York or New Jersey, and then what's WrestlePro, and then what's the Alaska?" I was like, "Okay, sit down. You have a couple of minutes. I'll look at it." It all started back when my mom and dad met. No, so I was like, it turned into an umbrella. What started as just the company, then morphed because it was before the WrestlePro school was called something else, called like the other company's name, then Dojo, and then Brian Myers like, hey, when he was sitting on the road from WWE, he's like, he was under contract not before he got fired and brought back and then fired again. His first run when Zack Ryder was doing his thing and he was sitting home doing nothing, he was bored. And then he told Pat, he's like, hey, I want to start a school. He's like, I know you already have yours in Jersey. He's like, do you want to? Pat's like, I'll go hands with you on one in New York. Okay. They named it Creative Pro New York. By happenstance, our company was already called WrestlePro. It almost sounds like it's done by design. Creative Pro is the school, WrestlePro is the company. It's like you're creating pros to make it to the show, and it's WrestlePro, Creative Pro. You know, it almost sounds like it's done by design. It wasn't. Creative Pro's New York. They started running shows. Creative Pro Wrestling out of New York. Creative Pro Wrestling's the Creative Pro Academy's the school. In New Jersey, Pat had to rebrand the school. He just named it. He's like, I'm just going to call it Creative Pro New Jersey. So now he's half partners in Creative Pro New York, fully owner of Creative Pro New Jersey. Then you have like trainers like LSG and Sean Donovan and Bobby Wayward doing a lot of the assistant training in Jersey. So then I run WrestlePro Alaska, but my school is the 907 Pro Wrestling Academy over there. So I like to think of it as like the Marvel universe where it's like here, and then you kind of got to draw the lines under. It's like Creative Pro New York, Creative Pro Wrestling is the school in New York, Creative Pro Wrestling Cap New York is the school. WrestlePro is the school in New Jersey and other places. Cap New Jersey is the school there. WrestlePro Alaska, but I mean, you could wrestle for all three. You just gotta. Some do. Actually, no. New York and Alaska I brought over New York kids. None of my Alaska kids did New York, but New Jersey and Alaska kind of crosses over in a lot of ways. I've had titles defended in both and stuff like that. So yeah, it's I mean, I don't really have it figured out, but we kind of just roll with what we got, and it's kind of fun. It just makes opportunities across the board for a ton of people, and so yeah, that's it. But out of the New York school, you had MJF, Chris Statlander, Bear Bronson, and Mark Sterling. There should be 5. Hold on. There's 5 out of that school. Who am I missing?
Did Bowens come out of?
Caster, Max Caster of the Acclaim.
Caster,
so
yeah.
5 came out of New York. And ironically, Statlander came a little after, but the other 4 of those were part of the very first class. So like hell of a graduating class right there. And they all made their own way there. It's not like any got a direct hookup and someone made a call and stuff. They grinded and each found their own way into AEW, which was pretty badass. It's not like, oh no, Brian Myers made a call and said hire XYZ. No, that wasn't the case here. So like kudos to everyone there. And then New Jersey, Anthony Bowens and Bear Boulder. What's ironic though is Caster and Bowens, the Acclaim, who's one of the hottest tag teams currently right now, they're a team over there. They weren't a team for us. They never teamed before AEW, and they both individually were getting into AEW. And I don't think I'm mistaking when I say this, maybe because Tony knows everything, knows they came out of the same school, but it wasn't a plan where it's like, oh, you guys came out, as far as I know, you guys came out of the same school together. We want to make you take him. He liked both of them and put them together. And then the Bear Bowler and Bear Bronson, even though they're out of both of our different schools, they actually were teaming before and made it there as a team. Bowens and Kessler made it there as a singles and got put together as a team with the Tony Khan idea, which I think it kind of worked out, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about, especially for those who may not be as familiar with the pro wrestling world, you know, you're building this great legacy of talent, and your Bowens and Caster are part of a tag team called the Acclaimed, who have to be one of the top 5 hottest teams on the planet right now. And it's, you know, I want to talk about, you mentioned Donovan and LSG, who were on the Chicago show, Champions of Hope for us. And that was your inaugural run in Chicago, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny too, because before you came into play, I've reached out to try to individually run Chicago because I was laser focused. I was like, I want to run Chicago. I've never wrestled in Chicago. I know the crowd in Chicago is one of the best. Like, I've tried everything, even AEW. I've done so much extra work for them where I told them, I was like, hey, can you throw me on any of those Chicago events? I was just dying to wrestle in Chicago. I was like, please. Somehow, some way. And then when I was like, you know what? I'm going to run my own show in Chicago. Screw this. I contacted the venue and stuff like that. All systems were go. I kind of had the ring locked down. I had a tentative date. And then one of the other companies, and again, I do not blame them because I could kind of put myself in that same boat where we run the rec center religiously over here. If other companies just kind of all try to come in and want to run, it's like, you're not helping us at all. Like, why would we say, yeah, everyone coming in? We're going to get hit with that. We're getting screwed on that deal where now fans are getting spread even thinner while we just built up this place for so many years. Literally for over 10 years now, we built up this building. But so one of the other companies were, you know, doing backflips at us racing to Chicago to another company running that venue. But so I put that on ice for a while. And then my buddy Jamie Silverberg, who
Jesus.
You know he's going to listen to this. He's going to sit here on it, and he's going to sit here like this, waiting for his shout. You know it. So, but he's been one of my best friends forever, and like literally, we used to have a podcast that probably would have got us all canceled. Well, me and Pat definitely, if that thing was even still around, because back in 2012, you know, it's not 2023. So that podcast was a lot of fun. People still mention it to us, like, dude, I missed 2.5 wrestlers. That was awesome. It was a good time, but so. And Jamie Silverberg, lovely family, and a house, the whole kitchen caboodle, what you call it, white picket fence. He's doing really, really, really well for himself. So he reached out. He's like, hey, my buddy, blah, blah, in Chicago. And I was like, I mean, you take things with a grain of salt, but he's not one to ever come to me and say, hey, I have this idea. This guy, he's not, I have a lot of those where I'm like, yeah, you've had 50 ideas. None of them came to fruition. Stop messaging me, please. But like, hey, I have this guy. I've known him. We used to work at the camp together. We're Pat Buck. I don't know if did you work with him at that camp?
Yeah,
because he was there a summer or two, and so yeah, he's like one of my buddies from there. He's like he wants to do this thing, and I was like, I'll hear him out. I said I don't know if how this would work out and make it make sense for everyone. I like it to make sense for everyone involved. There's so many promoters, and again, I'll go back to the partner that Pat had before me that I put him with, was my friend at the time. He was very about what benefits me. I don't care about you, your cause, whatever. As long as I make out, screw everybody else. That was his mentality where whenever I talk to anybody that wants to do any type of business, I put it on the table where it's like, I want it to make sense for everybody. Like I can make it make sense for me very easily. Where I was like, yep, this works for me. Not really for you, but that doesn't really matter. It works for me. So, but I kind of like it to make sense for everybody. And especially if there's a cause involved, even not to fast forward, but even after it, the first thing that I asked you was, I was like, did it work out? Like, we'll get into the whole show and stuff, but I was like, did it make sense to like for you, for them? Did they benefit? Like, that was my main concern. I know how I did, but I want to make sure everyone else did right and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's Jay Silverberg came around full circle. That's weird. It's like your friends in wrestling. You know, you know who's your real friend, and after X amount of years and stuff like that, and who's just in it to say, hey, what can you do for me type of people. And like my circle of friends that I still have to this day that I consider very close friends of mine, those guys are drifting into that like 15, 20 year, or when I started 22, 23 year realm, and I still have that same circle of people. So
well, and I gotta say, knowing Jamie was someone I always thought very highly of and had a mad respect for him. And when we were putting this together as an organization, it made sense because a big theme we've been talking about today is sort of mental health and conversations and different intersections that connect with communities. And for me personally, pro wrestling was always a big part of my background and personal life. And one of the things that connected strongly with Silva at the summer camp we worked at was obviously his interest and passion, and Pat to the same extent. And one of the things that when we put Champions of Hope together in Chicago, I was so stoked about was just you put together an amazing card, great talent. Everyone really worked their butts off, and it was such a good, strong experience that we knew immediately, like, we got to do this again and try to make it part of our regular experience. So I think we wanted to throw a huge, Jay Silva gets a hat tip, but I really want to just throw you some flowers just for being awesome from start to finish and putting that together and really bringing us an amazing show, just a really well-run, everyone was on top of their game. And, with time management, because we've got a few other guests that are going to be coming on. We're going to love to have you on again, in one of our other live streams. But I wanted to just really quickly, you've got the wrestling thing down pat, and you're kicking ass there. But is it my understanding you got a little bit, Hollywood's calling, right?
I don't know about, falling on a
But you're knocking
this, I suppose. But yeah, been training for some stunt work, making the transition over. I'm always going to do both. And I call it the Luke Hawks because I don't know if you follow Luke Hawks. He's stone cold on Young Rock and stuff. But if you just, for those the people that are in this right now, if you want to look up Luke Hawks' IMDb after this, he's been a wrestler as long as me. We've been friends since we both. That he's the one in Wolverine that got stabbed in the throat. Like, this dude probably has like 90 credits. Like, he's in everything. Like, even, I was watching the last season of Cobra Kai, and I was just texting with him 2 seconds ago. In the last season that just premiered, I'm watching it. They're in the jail, and he's, boom, right on my TV in a fight scene. He's like, yo, bro, just casually popping in on Cobra Kai like it's no big deal. Like, cool story, bro. What?
Yeah.
But he's in everything, but he still runs Wildcat Wrestling over in Louisiana while still. And this dude, he was the coordinator on Iron Claw, which is a movie of Von Erichs that's going to come out. He's on the show as a character and he's the stunt coordinator for Heels. I was brought in for season 2 of that to double Big Jim Kitchen.
Nice, man.
Young Rock, he's freaking Steve Austin. He was doing all 3 of those simultaneously, and while running his company, like,
wow.
I know The Rock's the hardest work in the room. As far as not being The Rock, but being in wrestling and in Hollywood, Luke Hawks is the hardest worker in the freaking room, man.
Yeah.
I like the Luke Hawks grind, and again, I'm gonna always be typecasted, or actually no, that's for like acting, I suppose, but like, I guess for stunt work too. But I'm only gonna get booked for things that require a huge, gigantic guy, because that's what I am. It's not, whereas other people can get brought in for multitude of roles where their face is hidden, you don't see them. They get killed this week, and the next week there's something else because they're all that, neutral height, which is great. But so it's the best of both worlds. Like, when they need a guy that's huge, it's like, I'm in a pool this big, especially in New Jersey. And what's great is, I don't know if you guys heard, but Netflix is opening up studios literally 20 minutes from my house on the Jersey Shore, where they're built. That's where they can be filming their shows, their movies, and all that stuff. So in the next year or two, work is going to probably be through the freaking roof. But yeah, I have a couple of things that didn't come out yet. I did this show called Fallout, which is based on the video game, which when you see it, it's going to be huge. If you Google it, the TV series, like, the gamer world is freaking out over it. I have an insane junkyard fight scene where I'm all jazzed up as this freaking scavenger creep. Whoa, you still there? Am I still there?
Oh yeah, no, I think we're rolling some video we stole from your social media.
Well, that what you're about to show, that's just that's something I did in Georgia. That's not for film or TV. That's just for my own personal pleasure and real, but it came out pretty badass. Yeah, you could totally show that. So yeah, that's not Fallout. But then a couple of other I did that was 2 months.
Cut the sounds cut.
Oh, you got to leave the sound.
Okay, leave the sound. So this is almost like a demo reel in a way.
Yeah, it's funny because when I posted this, I got hit up a lot saying, "Yo, what show is that? What movie is that?" Like, oh no, it's nothing. Me and my buddies just made it. So shout out to ATL Stunts in Georgia for helping me put that together and stuff. Yeah, that was just for my reel. And I had that mask done during the pandemic for wrestling purposes, but I never got to use it because the pandemic threw everything off. And then it was supposed to be me and my partner Pat teaming with these crazy masks. And then he got signed to WWE at the time. And I was like, that's been sitting in my closet for years. And I was like, let me just bring that to Georgia with me. And then we made that video. So pretty dope. But yeah, so I did Equalizer earlier on this year with Queen Latifah. I was a CIA agent. I got strangled in one of the episode Pulse season 2. Did motion capture for a video game. Did the Heels season 2, and then Fallout I just did, and then the movie I just shot last year. It's gonna come out later this year. I shot it a couple of months ago. That's pretty cool. I have a character in that, and I don't have speaking lines, but I have a character in that called Silvio. And you guys seen Uncut Gems?
Yeah.
The guy who killed Adam Sandler at the end, the guy that he had locked up and he came out and blew his brains out. Remember him?
Oh,
that was Keith William Richards, and I'm his heavy. I'm his goon. He does all the speaking, and I'm his bodyguard.
Oh, nice!
That's awesome, dude.
That sounds so fun.
It stars. It's written by River Gallo. She stars in it as well. It was based on a short she wrote that turned into a feature film. And I looked up online. I think it had Drake as one of the producers. When I looked at the thing, I was like, Drake? Like, Drake? I think there's only one person with one name, Drake, right? With no last name. I was like, is that guy? But it also stars Dylan O'Brien. He's from Maze Runner. He's from Teen Wolf. And if you look him up, you should know who he is. And then finally, you'll probably know up there, young lady, the girl Pedetri, which she stars in season 2 onwards of You on Netflix, as well as Haunting of Hill House. She was Nell stuff. So yeah, so it's a small cast, but I mean it's a very notable cast, and that's a feature film. That's gonna be, I think, a 90-minute feature film. It's currently in editing right now. We wrapped on that set, and I was like, wait a second. So when this comes out, am I going to finally get to go to one of those premieres with the backdrops and the red carpet and wear one of my fancy suits? He said, yep. I was like,
yeah.
Because that'll get you your SAG card, right?
Man, I've been in SAG.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to say.
You think I would be in all these projects? In 2018, I scored a national commercial with Martha Stewart. I did it. If you look up Martha Stewart, what's the Jack in the Box? The food place, the fast food.
Nice.
If you just pull up you can pull that commercial up in 2 seconds. You want to pull it up real quick on YouTube?
Yeah, Jack in the Box, Martha Stewart.
It was a national Super Bowl commercial.
Good old Jack in the Crack.
Wait, are you the?
I'm not Jack. Jack's been Jack for a million years. I'm the security. You'll see me.
And there you have it. A beautiful banh mi inspired fried chicken sandwich. You'd never find this at a fast food restaurant. It's a good thing.
Oh, is that right, Martha? Sir? I don't think so. Hey, Martha. My new food truck series has an Asian fried chicken sandwich made with crispy fried chicken strips, crunchy Asian slaw, and a gochujang mayo, all on a toasted baguette. And I'll put it up against yours any day.
Security, get him!
What, are you afraid somebody in the fast food world's going to see?
That's awesome. So, boy.
You want to go to war with me, Jack?
What are you going to do? Tuck me into bed? Read me a cookbook? Oh my gosh, what? I can't smell!
Oh, that's great.
Let me fix it.
Oh, that's better. So, are you going to try the sandwich?
I didn't know that, and
Martha, I'm going
Kevin, that's perfect.
Originally, that was a speaking role. Originally, like the audition was, I had to pull out a fork. She's like, "Get him." No, or she's like, "Teach him a lesson." Like meaning like rough him up, and then I pull out a fork, and I was like, "This." She said, "Teach him a lesson," so I thought it was a lesson about food. I was like, "This is a dinner fork, and this is a salad fork." Got it? And she's like, "No, I mean beat him up." I was like, "Oh." So when I auditioned, I don't know how I did it, but I mean, it popped the casting director, and then when I got a call back when I did it in person, they had me do it like 8 different times. I knew I definitely got it because the guy that next to me that audition, he did it once. They're like, "Okay, thank you," and then when I did this, do it again this way. Do it now. Do this. And like 3 times, I was like, I think they liked me. Okay,
that's great.
2 days later, I got the call. I was like, but I also spoiled because I got that role quick after just starting to dabble in it, and I don't know if you know anything about national commercials, but
hell yeah, dude.
When those checks came in, I was screw wrestling. This is gonna be my full time. And then every audition and then the pandemic hit, which ruined everything because I do better in person on auditions because they see that my hugeness. But on video, like watching this video, do I look big? Don't I look like a regular dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate the same. But if you see me in person, you're like, holy crap, that guy's gigantic. I don't come across the same. So I gave a different impression in person than I do in video. And like I got callbacks religiously every single time in person. I barely ever get them on videos ever. It just doesn't come across the same. So it is what it is. But again, I'm not crazy about acting. I don't want to, I can't, I don't think my memory's too great to begin with. I can barely remember wrestling matches, let alone freaking, that's let alone entire.
Lines are hard. Yeah.
I told you, I was like, I'm not trying to be an actor. If you want to still, you could do stunt acting too. It's like some of the roles will call for, I haven't gotten it yet, a line and then a fight scene and stuff like that, rather than them hiring an actor to deliver one line just to you to double that actor. It wouldn't make sense. They'd rather have a stunt guy be able to, say like, hey, what the hell did you just say to me? And then get into a fight scene rather than we need an actor to say that one line and then the stunt guy do like that. You're paying twice now for that. You know what I mean? So I'm cool with that. You want to give me like, hey, what the hell did you just say, MFer? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's stuff that's cool to me. So, but
well, I got to tell you, this is great, and obviously you're on the upward trajectory, and with everything that's going on, we're going to wind it down today. But I got to tell you, thank you so much for making time.
Kevin,
I know that you're running around and you're super busy. This has been an absolute treat, Kevin.
I'm all right, now you know where I'm going. I'm going to I Play America to meet my niece and nephew to play video games. Don't
yeah, dude.
That counts too. You got to have time for yourself, brother.
I have plenty of time for myself, but no, it's been a lot of fun, man. So
well, look, on behalf of the network, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know we're going to be doing some big things again this year, and you're always doing big things. So, Kevin, thank you so much. You're just a real badass, man. It's great to have you on.
Man, you guys.
Thanks, man. Kick ass. That was cool as hell. I had no idea about obviously the Jack in the Box commercial because we're east of the Mississippi and Jack in the Box is not allowed east of the Mississippi.
Allowed?
They used to, the restaurant had franchises east of the Mississippi, and then there was like some bad
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a thing where like some people got sick, and then they bankrupt all the Jack in the Box.
I miss their tacos.
Pretty good stuff. But
I learned something new, and just what a great guy.
He's the best. Stuff. He's the best, and it's cool to hear all the deep tissue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll definitely talk to more Kevin in the future. I very much believe he'll be around and mixing it up in future streams and stuff like that. He's a blast. So should we let's keep this train rolling. Yeah. All right. So check out Kevin. But right now we're gonna switch back into Snooze Fest vibes, and we're gonna talk to some representatives from 2 of the other bands on this stacked Snooze Fest lineup. I'd like to have them all out to wrap up the show today. We can kind of mix it up talking about Snooze Fest. I know that there is a new single from our friends in Leisure Hour. I know that, Goof has like a bunch of cool stuff. So we could talk to them about their new single as well. I think let's get Leisure Hour and Goof out right now, right? Let's just go. Let's keep this party happening. They've been patiently waiting. Hello.
What's up, guys?
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, we got Raegan, we got Natalie. Really, really glad to have you on the Tomorrow Show. I'm Mike, Erin D. You got AC over there, and Carl. So, man, where do we start? I mean, because Leisure Hour, this is gonna be your first show in Chicago. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is gonna be our first time playing in Chicago, and I've always wanted to play at the Beat Kitchen personally, and so the fact when Guardrail hit us up, I was like, absolutely, there is no better way to like have an introduction to the Chicago scene than to play a show like this for a great cause with great bands, great artists. I was like, this is like the best way we could have ever possibly been introduced to Chicago and the scene. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, the kitchen is awesome.
We're really excited to have you. Yeah, both AC and myself have had the pleasure of playing at Beat Kitchen over the years. It's a really great venue. They got a nice chill room upstairs for you to kind of like get your head together before hitting the stage and stuff. You know, we don't always get that, so it's like the little things. Natalie, have you played Beat Kitchen before?
I have not played Beat Kitchen before, actually. I've been there a bunch of times. It's actually down the street from my house, so also super stoked to play there for the first time.
Sweet. Well, I know. Yeah. I think I learned this during your interview with them, AC. Guardrail said they try to have a different group of bands every Snooze Fest. This being, I think, the 6th year they're doing Snooze Fest. So that's cool. Like this will be like kind of your first time on the Beat Kitchen stage, and it's like the first time this group of bands is gonna be performing together for like a one-day festival. I think that's pretty dang cool. Let's see. Why don't we have Raegan? Why don't you introduce Leisure Hour, talk about the band a little bit, and then we'll pass it to Natalie to talk about Goof.
Yeah, absolutely. So Leisure Hour, at least as far if I could give what our sound is with stuff that you can stream, we're definitely more of the indie rock, emo rock, pop rock kind of vibes. This past July, we spent a month in New Jersey recording our upcoming record that hopefully will come out this year.
Cool.
And that is more along the lines of pop punk, bubble grunge. It's giving like very early 2000s. Like if you love Avril Lavigne, if you love like people like in that era, it's definitely giving that vibe. So I'm very excited for the new music. We really felt like we found the band throughout that whole entire process. We're from India. We were hours away. And so that was like the first time that I had gone away from home for that long. And I had just graduated college too. And so it was like a whole process of like doing that and like my life transitioning like personally. And then also the band is kind of transitioning. So that was a really cool experience and a really good growing moment for me. But as far as like the start of the band, I'm the newest member of the band. I've been in Leisure Hour for a year and like 4 months, but I've known them for a very long time. They've been really good friends of mine. Isaiah and I met when we were freshmen in college, and I was playing in like metalcore bands and like hardcore bands, and he was still doing emo music with some of my best friends. And so, you know, life just kind of worked itself out. And then, you know, he called me one day and was like, hey, we need a fill-in. And I had like maybe 3 days to learn their set. And so we went, we played, and it was just this crazy energy. It was like, we just connected, and I had never felt like that. And I talked to my girlfriend after, and I was like, man, you know I was just a fill-in, but if I ever get the call to be their drummer, like I'm going to answer that and be like, absolutely, I will be your drummer. I will drop anything and everything I'm doing. And a week later, they were like, hey, you want to hang out? We'll come over. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm just playing video games. I ain't doing anything. Come over. They came over. They were like, hey, do you want to be our drummer? And I was like, absolutely. And the rest was kind of history from there. And, you know, it felt like, you know, from the time that I've been in the band to now, it's just crazy to see our hard work kind of paying off. I know the first show I played with them, we're like based in Muncie. The first show we played together, it was like maybe 20 people or so there. And then and that was like in August. And then so fast forward to our kickoff show in May, we had like over 150 people there. And so like, it was just that grind of like going for it, not really looking back, building a community. That's a huge thing about our band, is building a community around our music and really becoming friends and investing in the people who invest in us. And that is just kind of what keeps it going, because, you know, we're very lucky to be able to express ourselves, express our art in a public manner. And so we never take that for granted, and we do whatever we can to just help anybody out. That's kind of our motto, is just helping our friends out. Like, everybody's our friend. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about Leisure Hour.
Yeah, hell yeah. Awesome. Rocking 3-piece. I really like that you guys in your bio got attention by playing loud, looking slay.
Yes.
And building an intimate community around their band. We'll talk a lot more about Leisure Hour and the music. You guys just came off that show at Be Here Now.
Yes.
You got a house show the day before Snooze Fest in Chicago, it looks like. And it's gonna be really great to have you here in Chicago. I'm gonna pass the mic to Natalie. Natalie, tell us about Goof and all the amazing music, the new single Undercover. I want to hear all about it.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm so excited to see you guys play on the 11th. Let's get ready to slay together. But yeah, my name is Natalie. You can call me Goof. It was my nickname in high school. So when I was coming up with an artist name, I was like, couldn't think of anything. And I was like, well, if Lady Gaga can be Lady Gaga, I can just go by Goof, right? Yeah, I'm originally from Mount Prospect, which is a suburb of Chicago. Yep. If you go back there, everyone will call me Goof. But I've been living in the city for a few years now. The project itself is really just me, but I have a lot of really awesome collaborators. First and foremost, my producer, James Curifus. You can hear his work, and he plays in bands Capital Soiree, Friday Pilots Club, local Chicago legends. He's been doing a lot of great like mixing and mastering work for bigger artists lately too. We make a lot of pop music, honestly. Like I'm like you were saying before, how they want to keep like the Snooze Fest lineup fresh, or not. I'm really excited to be one of the first pop artists playing on this bill, because I've been going to this show since I think like 2019. I mean, I've been to a bunch of Snooze Fests in my time, and really excited to play it now, and hopefully just give everybody a little bit of a, like what John was saying before, that when you're playing with bands who aren't really your genre, people tend to, you know, sort of pay attention, maybe go outside their comfort zone a little bit. So I'm really excited to, you know, see how the audience likes us. I've taken a bit of a hiatus from performing to get settled at a new job. But I've got some new guys behind me, backing me for this show. We are super stoked to just come play for you guys. And otherwise, I mean, I'm just so excited to be there and to play B Kitchen. I started in the scene a long time ago. I actually grew up doing musical theater, and that's where I got my degree. That's how I started singing. I went to the Chicago College of Performing Arts, was vibing there in college for like a year, started to see like a different side of the industry, and was like, I really don't like doing this anymore. So I started going to any shows that I could, like following little like booking agents around, like Out of Context Entertainment and Funhouse Entertainment. Just ended up showing up to stuff and talking to people. A few years later, I got to intern for Funhouse, and that's where I met my producer and just met so many amazing people along the way, including Kevin, who I got booked on this show by seeing him at a show and said, hey, I really want to start playing shows again. Can I play Snooze Fest? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So I could not thank those guys enough for just being so awesome and giving me a chance to hop on and play with some of my great friends, like keep flying, meet all these new awesome people, and just putting together a really freaking diverse bill. I loved scrolling through and seeing, like, you know, female presenting people, femme. We got a lot of she, a lot of they, a lot of colors. I don't know. I love to see it. I think it's really important for people, you know, in our industry and in our genre, especially to keep those bills diverse. So I'm so excited for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about a diverse lineup. We got Keep Flying. We got Guardrail. The Day After. Cut Your Losses. Goof. Leisure Hour, of course. The Runaround, and the Freedom Paradox. So that's all Saturday, February 11th. Doors 5:30, 6 o'clock show. Proceeds benefit for Us Network. And this is at the Beat Kitchen, 2100 West Belmont here in Chicago. Get your tickets in advance, save a couple bucks. And if you are 17 or over, pick out your finest PJs and be there for some punk rock and some pop. And, you know, you got your little shorthand, exclamation tickets. That'll bring that link up for you so you can go get your tickets right now for Snooze Fest.
And I also want to throw in, as a late stage development, that live available for all attendees, we'll be raffling a brand new Nintendo Switch.
What?
So that'll be going, you know, it'll be towards the end. It'll be right before the last act goes on, but the raffle will be on and popping. So along with all the amazing bands that'll be going out there, just want to throw that in there.
That's quite something to throw in there, just casually.
That's something to throw in there.
Yeah. We love our.
Yeah, if there's low turnout on the raffle, you might get it for like $5. So.
Yeah, for real.
And you know what was added? You know what was added to Switch yesterday or the day before?
What was added to Switch yesterday or the day before?
007 GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
That's right.
For the 64 stands. I was super pumped when we got the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, like they did the updated reboot of 1 and 2. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Nintendo Switch. That's like gravy on top of seeing an amazing show for such a economical ticket price. You know, 8 bands for $15 in advance, $18. Yeah, that's like getting the family size pack at Costco and shit. You know what I mean? It's just like bang for your buck for sure. Oh man, I love that.
Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I know we're gonna be winding down in a little bit. Maybe we do a little overrun, but I just wanted to talk with Goof Raegan. I meant to put a space in that. But just real quickly, as part of Snooze Fest, I think one of the cool things is that this experience where, like, the PJs, the whole thing is like this whole experience. We've been talking about live events and the connections. Those are kind of like two big running themes. And I'd really be curious to know, for you, what was kind of like a big impacting live event you've been to, or maybe something that really inspired you in terms of like wanting to get into the music scene? I know this is kind of random as we close down, but I just thought it'd be good because we've been listening to other people sort of talk about connections in the sort of that space. And I just wonder what your inspirations were or connections with that.
I'll go ahead and start. Yeah, that's actually a great question. One of my most memorable music experiences actually came from a band on Snooze Fest, which is The Day After. Nice. And so I remember I was just kind of graduating high school, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew I wanted to get involved in some sort of scene. I had a band in high school that had ended after we graduated. And so my friend was like, hey, you should go to the Hoosier Dome down in Indy. And I was like, okay, like I'll drive. And I brought like 2 of my friends. And I remember watching The Day After perform, and I was just completely blown away by the stage presence, by the energy of the crowd. And, I was just like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be on that stage. Like, I want to make people feel something. from that perspective, and I just followed them around for years, and I still do. They're still one of my favorite bands ever, and so that is definitely from an early point, at least from a live setting, and then from like a non-live setting. My mom, growing up, she had the Temptations biopic on VHS.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she would play that, and it had gotten to the point where I was so obsessed with that movie. I was like 3. I knew all the songs. Like I'd be like, come on, Otis. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. I'm like, walking around saying stuff like that. And it just like, it moved me from a young age. And so like, I guess that's kind of, from then just like starting to love music, getting into Motown, getting into 60s, 70s music, and then like kind of experiencing that, just starting bands and going to other local and live shows. It just kind of all progressed into one big thing that I'm very happy that I experienced, because I get to do what I never thought that I would be able to do now. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Righteous.
Yeah, that's so sick. So when I'm thinking about like really moving concert and like live music experiences I've had in my life, like I just remember more of like the people that I went with. Like a big reason why I decided to do this, like to have my pop project, was from when I would go to shows in high school and we would go see indie bands, and you get your parents to call you out of school and like wait outside all day, and just the passion that we had and like how much fun I had with my friends going to do that stuff. I was like, this scene is a really powerful thing. And so then like once I found this like smaller scale like DIY scene in Chicago, and they had the same sort of energy, like I just couldn't get enough. I kept going. I can't go as much as I did as a 19-year-old as I can as a 25-year-old, but I still try to get out there and support the homies. And there's just no feeling like being surrounded by like all of your friends and just like chilling with live music together. And like I remember just my first Riot Fest and the bliss that I had just like being alone there in the sun, just listening to music. And I just felt happy and safe, and everyone was there and chilling. And, for me growing up, like I was definitely into different music. I had a very severe obsession with Cirque du Soleil.
Woo!
So I would listen
so
to
badass.
Cirque du Soleil albums.
So
and
badass.
I'll tell you, that shit slaps. Like it's so good. It's fantastic. And like I just didn't even care that like I was the only person who liked listening to this music. So it's so fun for me to grow up and to be a part of this scene where I can just go listen to music with my friends together and like have a really moving experience at like a big show versus like subterranean downstairs. So yeah, that's one of the cool things about like our scene and our people, live music in general, I think. And just the fun that you have there it's so important for us to be doing this for other people too, so that they can have that sort of release. I think that live shows are awesome for people's mental health.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
That's so good.
Spot on. I wanted to really quickly, Scott, do you have maybe a minute to pull up Goof's most recent single, the cover artwork? We mentioned Goldeneye a moment ago, and it's just like kind of too perfect not to for all of us to look at. Undercover, the most recent single from Goof, has some pretty cool album artwork and you'll see what I mean and why I'm associating.
So funny.
It's not a total free association here. So when Scott gets that pulled up, we'll be able to see that. But while he's getting that, can you talk about that most recent song you put out, Undercover? There it is. Are you a Thai? Are you maybe trained in I don't know, being stealth and espionage, or is there more to this? Is it maybe a little deeper than?
Honestly, I wish I was trained in espionage. That sounds so cool. No, it's definitely. Like the song itself does not have anything to do with what we came up for the cover art. Like I wrote the song, we had finished the song, and I was like, gosh, what should I like do to promote it? Like what should be like its thing? And I was telling all my friends, I'm like, the only thing I can think of is Undercover and Spies. And I'm like, that's all I've got. And so
right. I like it.
I was being an idiot, and I was like, let's take a bunch of pictures of me like in a suit and like edit like a retro James Bond cover, because I have this friend, Greg McDonald, put together the cover art. He's great. He works with me at Songfinch. Gave me my first internship at Funhouse, and I was like, dude, can you please do this for me? Like, these are the kind of images I want. And it turned out so perfect. There's like a bunch of little me's in there. It's so fun.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
Literally, it's so fun. I crack up every time I see it, and I'm the one who came up with the idea. But no, so the sort of premise of the song, like, it wasn't written about anything specific in my life, which is interesting because I normally write about, like, you know, pretty specific experiences, or I'm referencing a bunch of things throughout. Undercover was more of just like it's kind of a queer anthem, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it stands for it can be like being undercover and just not being able to tell like the person that you like them, but also has this other layer of like, if it's somebody that it's a, you know, maybe not like necessarily normalized for you to tell them that you like them. Like, when I was writing the song, I wasn't thinking of any specific person, but like, it just gave me this like really feminine energy, which feels really weird to say, but like when I was writing it, I was like, I don't know, this is a song about a girl to me. And so I think it sort of gives it that added layer of like anybody can relate to it, because I feel like so many people get in that situation where you're like, oh no, like, I don't know if I should tell this person how I'm feeling. It could mess things up, this and that. But then just the energy behind the song also gave me like that added layer of like, okay, well, what if I'm like really coming out of my shell? What if I'm like coming out of the closet? Like, I don't know. Sometimes people get that sort of feeling that that's like a pretty nerve-wracking thing. But I just hope that people who are going through that can, you know, hear the song and sort of feel that sort of thing. But the song itself is really fun, bouncy. Like,
oh, yeah, it is.
The biggest feedback that I get from people who interview me are like, wow, your songs sound really fun, but the lyrics are kind of dark. And I'm like, yep, I don't know. That's just who I am.
Yeah. Some of my favorite music is.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. Yeah, I read a bunch about you and the song and stuff like that. So I really appreciate hearing it from you, as you just explained it. That, because I think people feel like outcasts in a lot of different situations, and when it comes to identity and sexuality, like there's a lot of like fire on that right now. Like, it is ridiculous, some of the conversations you see happening in these community squares, you know, online and stuff like that, where people can have just wildly hateful rhetoric, and other people can really find their community and find some comfort in these other corners of the internet too. So it's like, it's not all bad. You just got to find your people that make you feel good and make you feel seen, and don't make you feel like you're undercover, right? So fuck yeah, I love that.
Oh yeah.
And kicking it back to Raegan, Leisure Hour, y'all and your fans, you crowdfunded for the new album. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So at this point, it was probably around last March or April. And by the time I had gotten in the band, Grace and Isaiah, they had already had the record that we recorded in July. They had already had it mostly written. It was mostly written. And then we kind of worked, once I got in, you know, I changed the drum parts. We worked on stuff. I was like, here, let's add this, or what about this? We started to really collaborate and try to turn these songs into something we were proud of. And so we were getting down to the time where we were looking for producers and engineers, like who we want to go to, how we want to do this. And I was doing research one night, and I had come across Sound Acres Studios, and Gary Cioni has worked with some of my favorite bands, like The Wonder Years, Hot Mulligan. Like, he has worked with incredible bands that have shaped me, influenced me, have helped me in my like own personal life just through their music. And so I sent it to the band, and I was like, hey, like, maybe we could record there. Like, I was like, it's in New Jersey, but like, are you guys willing to do this? And so they were like, this is a good idea. We'll Hail Mary, like, we'll send an email, we'll see if he likes us, and we'll go from there. And Gary got back with us, and we we got the quote for 12,000 we recorded 14 songs. And we were going in July, and at this point it's like April. And so we're like, oh my God, yes, we're going to do this, but how are we going to do this?
Right.
And so we came up with the idea to throw 2 DIY festivals at my house in my backyard, called Backyard Fest. And we brought bands from all, like, pretty much the Midwest area. We brought them down. We had vendors. I got a bounce house the first, like, it was insane. And we had the bands on my deck. And we just we sold concessions. I grilled hot dogs for like 5 hours. Wow. It was insane. So it was like a little, like, it really did have a festival vibe. We had games. It was just so cool. And it was cool to bring the community there. And it was like, I didn't know how many people were going to come. And then it was like 20 people. And then then it was 50. And then next thing you know, I look up and there's 150 people in my backyard. And I'm just like, whoa. And we were able to literally, between those two, and then we threw a yard sale, we were able to crowdfund half of the record, like half the money for the record through those.
Wow.
And we just saved up for the rest of it and covered the other costs. But like, it was so cool just being able to see how much our community really backed us and believed in us and supported us. And just like, it really helped fuel that fire to make this record like the best thing possible. And so, yeah, that was just a really cool process.
You still doing Backyard Fest?
We're actually trying to plan another one. So,
oh shit! Well, check out the debut studio album from Leisure Hour, The Sunny Side. That's gonna be coming out not too long now. Recorded in July, and that's so awesome that y'all did that. That's a cool story. Thank you, Raegan.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for allowing me to tell that.
Yeah, and the pictures on their bio, if you're on their Spotify page, you can just see there's like really like a great love and like caring between this 3-piece. Your pictures are so lovely. I love to see you guys sitting on there and just like holding each other, just looking just lovely and welcoming. So you said when you're coming to Chicago, you guys are going to double down, right? You guys have a house show. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the night before, we're going to be playing in West Lafayette on Purdue's campus. We got a house show with a couple buddies of ours, and then we're going to play, obviously, Snooze Fest. And then the next day, we're going to head over to Kalamazoo, which is that's like a second home to us. So we're going to head over there and finish the weekend off. So we're really excited that we were able to get a weekend booked, and we're able to just kind of make like this whole weekend. I'm just so pumped for it. That's all I've been thinking about. So
it's cool. Hey Scott, can you I found something really random. Since we watched Kevin Matthews in a Jack in the Box commercial, this is just too much of a coincidence not to share. You got that, Scott?
I knew that was coming.
We didn't plan that Jack in the Box commercial either. So like
that was literally what I thought. As soon as that commercial played, I was like, there is no freaking way. There is no way.
Oh man, that's so awesome, man. So if you need this picture described to y'all, it's just it's Raegan looking just like it's Christmas morning and they open their favorite present and it just happened to have a big old sack of Jack in the Box in there.
Yeah, it was okay. So this partnership with Jack in the Box was so random. We were on tour and we're just literally just driving. And I'm on my phone and I get an email and it's like, Leisure Hour, we want you guys to be a collaborator. And I was like, at first I thought it was spam. I thought it was sketch. And I was like, there's
right.
No
I would have.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. And then, I talked to the band and they were like, just go ahead and fill it out like we'll see what happens. And so I filled it out, and then literally got back from tour. They gave us a $40 gift. I had a $40 gift card sitting in my mailbox, and I was like, oh, this is legit. I was like, I have to post something. I was like, I gotta go to Jack in the Box and post something. And so yeah, we did that, and it was awesome. Jack in the Box is really good. So I was very pumped about that. So shout out to Jack in the Box for the gift card.
And I think I debunked myself because I said Jack in the Box isn't east of the Mississippi anymore, but I believe I'm mistaken here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 locations in Indy.
So I guess maybe they're just not in Illinois anymore, or just they're not around.
They done got ran out.
Yeah, they got ran out of Chicago. Well, that's crazy. Thank you, Scott, for that. And one more thing to put Raegan on the spot, and then I want to talk a little bit about Goof's album artwork as well, because it's pretty spectacular. Scott, I just sent you a link to that reel on IG. And I think it really just does a really great job of conveying your personality, Raegan, as a drummer. So if we could just hit that sound too. Let's hear that sound. Why not? Yeah. Get it, Raegan. Thank you for that, Scott. I just want to give people a taste. Give people a taste.
Thank you. People always laugh at my drum faces. I make some crazy faces when I'm playing the drums, but it's like I loved it, and that was like, you know, it's always hard sometimes to show the drummers some love. You know, with videography, photography, sometimes the lighting ain't right. You just in the back. Yeah, AC knows what's up. AC knows what's up.
I know.
And so anytime I see a photographer or videographer, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give them a show for this like next 3 seconds. Like I'm gonna go crazy. Like I'm gonna make sure they get a good shot. But yeah, it's also just like, I love that video too, because I just like, as a queer Black person in America, in the music scene, just in general, I had like just never felt comfortable just kind of being myself, and just like what that kind of looks like in a very male dominated industry, and like what my mark is. You know, I'd be like, I remember like, I was like a couple years ago, I'd be like, man, guys can play with their shirts off. Like, why do I feel so weird about that? Or just like stuff like that. It's just like very self-conscious. And I feel like as I've grown and as I've really come to terms with who I am as a person, I felt more comfortable than I ever have before. And I just sit in that piece of who I am, what I represent, and you know, using who I am as a person to really show other people who are maybe like me, that we can do it, we can be comfortable, you know, and it's just so cool. Again, like Goof was saying, just having a whole wide range of people in the Snooze Fest lineup was super cool to see, because, you know, I thought even when we started touring, I was like, oh man, maybe, you know, that'll be a chance to see so many more different musicians like me. And if anything, it was like, oh wow, we're really the minority. I'm like, we're really the minority. It isn't just here, it's everywhere. And so it feels good to kind of represent that in a way of like, you can just be who you are, and you have a place, and like your presence matters. And so, you know, I'm glad to hopefully be a band that can kind of carry that torch and continue to represent people and continue to build a community of diverse people who want to just spread love and positivity into the world, and want to share that human experience together, the ups, the downs, the heartbreaks, the happy moments, you know. So yeah.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for representing and just being all you. You were making some of the faces that my man AC makes when he's in his happy place playing drums.
I make faces, but not as cool. Like Raegan's faces are dope.
I said they were reminiscent. I didn't say
I look at
cooler or less cool.
I look at Raegan's faces and I'm like, killing it. My faces look like I'm in, like, people come up to me and they're like, "Are you okay? Like, should you be doing this?"
They're like, "Are you hurting?"
Yeah. Did you break something?
There's some pretty great examples of AC drum faces on his Instagram, and he makes good faces. I think he's maybe being a little bit humble right now.
Yeah.
Because like he's got the fierceness, he's very focused, but then like if he makes eye contact with you, he'll like flash you like an award-winning grin. But he'll do it real quick because he wants to not break character. He's like, hey, what's up? Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
His
That's a
dreads
good
flying.
one. Yeah, when your chains and your chains and your dreads are flying, it's like it's quite fun. Quite fun.
It's majestic.
Thanks, Scott.
AC, I know you're just in that pocket based off those photos. I know you're just deep in the pocket.
Deep in the pocket for sure.
I'll see you at Snooze Fest. We will nerd out all day.
Oh,
yeah.
I cannot wait.
All right. So before we get out of here, there's just like one more thing I want to touch on. Aside from like one more time doubling down on Snooze Fest at the very end. There is an album cover digging a little deeper into Goof's catalog where you are adorned in flowers, Natalie, and it is just like a spectacular album cover. There's like a little
is that seasonal fantasy
of the photo, and this is on. I'm looking at Spotify right now. I'm looking at your bio too. There's like a different variation from that same photo shoot for the cover of Seasonal Fantasy, your debut album. What was that photo shoot like? I mean, the results were astounding.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've never been asked this question before, but I love that you asked this because it was so funny. So I had this idea of like what I wanted it to be. I mean, yep, there it is. The title of the album, Seasonal Fantasy, came from a line in like one of the songs in the middle called Not the One, which it's a pop album, and I decided to put a pop punk song on it just to confuse people because I thought it would be funny. I don't know. But that photo shoot was so funny. It took like hours to prepare for it. I collaborate with one of my best friends. His name is Fabian Marquez. He takes basically all my photos for like stuff that I've used like in album covers. He took the pictures of me in the Bond outfit, took this photo. I got the font designed by my friend Caitlin. But yeah, he did like the Rewind Halloween bottom feeder, all scraped up singles. So we do a lot of like really collaborative work together, and I love working with him because like we're always on the same page. We can like talk a lot, have a lot of fun, get really specific about like my vision. And this day was so funny because we got together. I was doing all the makeup. We were trying to find a way to attach these flowers to me because like, I don't know what I was thinking, but we didn't have anything sticky. So he was like, let's use lash glue. And I was like, oh, duh. Yeah, that's a great idea. So I have my hair like back, sprayed back in this ponytail. The white ones that are like in a line down my neck, those were on a strand. So I didn't have to glue those.
Okay.
All of these flowers and butterflies I glued to myself with lash glue.
Nice.
I was sticky for weeks. And my mom even asked me, like after I posted, she was like, that was such a beautiful picture. Where did you get those flower graphics? And I said, graphics? I glued that stuff to myself. And I was like, and then I thought about it and was like, wow, yeah, that was really stupid. I could have just used graphics, but no.
I don't think that's stupid at all. I think graphics would have gotten the job done, but like practical effects whenever possible.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I
And
mean,
it was so fun to put together. Like it took us like an hour or two to set this up, and about like 5 minutes or less to take the picture.
Yeah.
So much gluing, so much setup, so much makeup, and then okay, we're done.
you look badass.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think the practical effects piece of it, of you actually, making the sacrifice to be sticky for a week and all.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Like,
I promise I'm showering. It won't come
looks
off.
great.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't have much
Got a bunch
experience
of
with lash glue, but I'm sure others can relate that lash glue sticky hangs out. Yeah, I just really love your aesthetic. I love the pop sound, and I love that it's always kind of surprising you with the elements that you work in that like the pop punk song on Seasonal Fantasy, for instance, where you keep people guessing, and I think that's really special and unique, and I can't wait for your set at Snooze Fest.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was if you've been seeing me bop around, I found Seasonal Fantasy, and yeah, that's some bops on that motherfucker right there.
For sure, dude.
It's some good shit. No, I mean,
you guys are so sweet.
I think we've been blessed to be connected with such talented musicians and professionals in each of the different
Rob
genres and the
Haverman.
different flavors.
Yes, Rob, bestie.
Rob Haverman alert. Rob Haverman
Oh, you got
alert.
photos did by Rob?
One of the
Yeah,
best.
that was one of our
damn rock
favorite
photos
shows. I was so
people
happy
wear.
he was in town.
Haberman's
the
a
best.
legend.
He's the best in the world.
But I just want to put some props up. I try to make it a point to know who the heck we're collaborating with. So I've been going through as the bands for Snooze Fest are connected with us. I've been trying to find out their libraries. And Goof, in your case, I'll straight up be honest that today was the first time engaging. But if you've been seeing me jam out, it's kind of been like it's been like, yeah, okay. Like you did the intro on the album. I was like, all right, okay. But we get into Rewind and If I Run, and I'm like, oh shit. And I don't know if you saw me like my camera drop out while y'all were talking, but like I was like, bam, and I knocked my shit over. Because like I got the all scraped up and like some shit was hitting, you know what I mean? Like it's kidding me. So and I don't know, I can listen to whatever, but like this is, I don't know if I would like close my eyes and be like, I'm fitting to listen to pop tonight. But like this has got some ear honey on it, you know what I'm saying? So like I'm digging
Ear
it. So I
honey.
just want to put it in there.
Thank you.
Good
And
shit.
also, it's so funny that you know Rob, just because like we've all known Rob for years.
Oh my gosh, the best guy. Best guy.
Mr. Haverman's a legend.
That's really great. Yeah.
My favorite pictures of performing live have been taken by Rob Haberman.
Yeah.
He's a teddy bear too. He's
And
like
he can do
the best person.
It's sneaky, but he can do a real good mental health talk.
Oh yeah, he can pump a crowd up.
He's been out there. He's such a great advocate and just a great guy and a great friend. Like anytime that I'll like post something kind of sad, Rob always will like be like rooting for you. I'm like, thank you. He's such a good guy. I was so happy that he was in town the weekend that we played that show so we could get those photos.
Well, AC can confirm this. We work together in a warehouse with a bunch of musical instruments and a bunch of musical nerds that we work with. And, for the last week, we've been putting Snooze Fest bands in the queue that we all like get to add music to. And, man, people have been loving it. And it's really satisfying when your coworkers looks at the queue and goes, what the hell is this? And they're like, their body is just like vibrating because they're really into it. And they stop what they're doing at work to look at the queue and check out who it is. And AC.
I told Kevin and Alyssa and Guardrail on my show Friday night that they owe me money. Listen, no, for real, check it out. Because one of the kids that we work with, I will not say their name on camera, but I put in some Guardrail. And like Mike said, all the kids are like, what is this? They're all like hovered around Mike and my desk because Mike and I sit next to each other. And one of the kids is like, I just bought the EP. Bought it, had to. And I just stopped and looked at him. I was like, you did what? He's like, yeah, dude, it's too good. I had to buy it. I bought it right now. I bought it.
It was like halfway through a song too.
Yeah, halfway through the second song, I bought the EP. So, Kevin, if you guys are watching,
they are sending your commission check in the mail.
$2.
Turn it off in the chat.
$2.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good music that even predates Raegan in the Leisure Hour catalog that you guys can get down with. Any click, any follow, any sharing, any playlisting. This helps independent artists more than you could possibly imagine, and it only takes you a second out of your day. All those little shares, they add up. So please, make sure you keep buying Guardrail EPs so AC could get his 69-cent commission.
$2.
Please be supporting all the bands on Snooze Fest. It's just an embarrassment of talent. It's just so much good shit. 8 bands for $15 if you buy your tickets right now. $18 at the door. 17 and over. Spread the word. Beat Kitchen. It's going off Saturday, February 11th. And so it's going to be a little something for everybody. I just want to say thank you to everybody for an awesome extravaganza today to cap off the sleep-in weekend. It's been really cool to tune in to all the streams.
Yeah, thank you
guys
so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you so much for joining us for such a packed show.
Yeah, Carl, thanks for guest hosting with us and taking us through with Kevin, because like I know you know the ins and outs of wrestling so much more thoroughly than myself. But I'm gonna end this with a little bit of Macho Man. Oh yeah!
I really appreciate that, and Mike, I'm gonna let you close it out, but or tomorrow's show. But I just wanted to give props again, also to everyone that was part of Snooze Fest. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And I want to throw some flowers to our tomorrow's show and Side of the Times hosts AC, and then collectively Aaron, Mike, and AC for all the hard work you've been doing and helping putting these fantastic shows together. And because they're not always on camera, you know, we're a great team. And I want to give a shout out to our homies Ben, and a particular highlight to our executive producer and our creative director. So Scott Kansky and Christina Bravo, who don't end up in front of camera a lot of the time, but a lot of Snooze Fest wouldn't even happen without Christina Bravo, just as a point of fact.
True.
So I just think it's really important that y'all understand like the total breadth of our team in front and behind the camera. Just want to throw some flowers to Scott and Christina. We couldn't make these things happen without them. So I'll send it back over to the Tomorrow Show host, but I just wanted to put some love out there for those amazing people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, if anybody's looking for some more live stream action, this coming Tuesday, I'm playing a virtual concert on a YouTube channel called The Bunker Live. It's a studio based out of St. Charles, Illinois, and they've had a lot of really great bands over the couple years that they've been doing that show. I get to play a solo set on Tuesday night. That's 8:30 Central Standard Time. So yeah, if you're looking for another fun stream where I'll be talking about my music and how it supports my mental health and how self-expression is just extremely valuable. So find yours, find the way that you express yourself so that it can relieve that pressure that builds up inside of all of us due to mental health stuff that we're being challenged by, or just circumstances in our personal world or the world at large. Because a lot of things you could find to be stressed about, but right now I'm choosing to just look in front of me at all this amazing goodness and try and amplify that. So that's what the Tomorrow Show is all about. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks. All right. Oh, and you're going to hear this beat that me and AC started last Tomorrow Show. You're going to hear the final beat, the conclusion of that two-parter. That'll be next show. So please tune in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Until then, take care of yourselves.
Thanks, guys.
Much love, everybody.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Tomorrow show. Tomorrow show. Tomorrow show. Tomorrow show. Tomorrow show. Tomorrow show. Tomorrow
show, tomorrow show, tomorrow show.